Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was Seraph Highschool DxD. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Crowfeast and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. End of an era and beginning of new one. Naruto. A name used to mean something in the past. A hero, a warrior, a shinobi that defied the odds and rose to the top. He defeated his former friend and saved the entire shinobi world from extinction at the hands of a vengeful goddess. From there you would think that it would be the storybook ending for him. He would become Hokage down the line, his friend would travel the world, he would get married and have kids and live a happy life. If that is the story you are hoping to read, then go somewhere else. This is not one of those stories. Naruto learned the truth about the world a long time ago, and that is, people are nothing but greedy and deceiving when they want to achieve something in the present. For him, he learned the truth about his friends, his so-called loving parent figures, and learned the truth about the shinobi world as a whole. They didn't care about him or those that suffered carrying the beasts in their stomachs throughout their lives. More, they wanted to have the power to determine the fate of the world and command it as they please. So after he defeated Sasuke, he was captured and sentenced to being experimented on by his own village. From there the Kyuubi had merged with its counterpart and was trying its best to keep him safe. More since that thanks to Naruto's planning and his own parents, they managed to form the seal where he would absorb the other Biju to protect him. From this, they could not be sealed again, and they would continue to live in Naruto until his death, which could be very far off. In the times of his experimentation, he cursed humanity, and the Biju roared about what they would do to the Tritorso of this world when they had the chance. He even saw the ghost of Hagoromo and told him that it was necessary to keep the balance in the world. Naruto called him a hypocrite and how his mother was right, she was right to hate him because she saw the monster he would become and wished she smothered him as a child. This leads to the ghost pitying the child and saying he would be in limbo when his time was over, while the others are given a pass thanks to his influence with the gods. After his piece was said, Naruto screamed at the gods and damned them for his fate and demanded if they truly cared about him to show themselves or be considered monsters in his eyes. In that shocking moment on the table, he was meeting with Kami, who he showed his memories to. She was furious about his predicament and what Hagoromo did to make her look like a fool. She cried the child knowing that her and siblings could do nothing for him, but he asked for a wish to be granted. He wanted the shinobi era to end and he wanted something to grant him the power to do it with. Kami agreed to this and promised that one day he would be reborn again and this time he would be the one that decides the fates of the worlds once more. With all of her power she gave him the curse of Seraph, from there he was turned into a monster. He quickly broke free from his prison and went on a slaughtering spree of the entire village. He killed the scientists, burned their notes, and then butchered the shinobi. First he killed the ones that came first, and that was the Jounin and Anbu. He used one of his gifts, turning them into salt after he sliced them with his black blade of his own blood. Next he moved on to some of the Chunin that challenged him, where he slaughtered them with this blade of salt before confronting his former friends and enemies. The first being the Inyazuka clan that came quick with their dogs at their side and Kibble leading the group in the attack. However, they quickly found this boy was not the same person that he was before. Not only did he kill their dog partners, he slaughtered most of the clan, while saving only Tsume, Hana, and Kiba for last. He impaled Hana with one of his wings tips and turned her into nothing, enraging Tsume for this action. Before she could act though, she found her chakra being drained out of her body with Naruto looking at her with his hand out. Soon her body collapsed to the ground and she couldn't move from the pain she was in. Naruto reacted on instinct by using the chakra into a pure energy blast. Tsume's entire top half was removed from the blast, leaving the bottom to collapse to the ground. Kiba charged in the attempt to avenge his family's death, but he too was cut down by Naruto, with him walking away, not hearing his cries for mercy to the others. He continued this process with the deaths of the other major clans, but he arrived at the Hyuga clan and took his time. First he slaughtered the so-called slaves of the clan and then killed the elders. Then he had Hiashi and his daughters and cousin left. Neji charged at him, but he removed his hands and then removed his eyes for good measure. This led to Naruto putting his blade through his chest, turning him into salt. They asked why he didn't do anything else, but he told them that there was no point. He would not waste this power on those that were this weak compared to himself. From there he cut off Hiashi's head and crushed his eyes in his grip. Hinata shouted how he was a monster and she was glad she never really loved him. How she damned him to hell if only the means to gain access to his family's secrets. Naruto sighed, telling her that while he was happy she got what she wanted, it wouldn't matter. He then ran past her and put his hand through her chest, removing her heart in a second. Hanabi screamed and threw her fists at him, but he reacted by using the blood dripping off his wings on the floor to impale her with the puddles turned needles. In time the other clans and heir and heiresses fell, leaving only Kakashi, Iruka, Sakura, Sasuke, Tsunade, and the elders in their place. Naruto snorted at them and told them their end was already at hand, and he was not feeling the mood to drag this out more than he already had. Tsunade claimed his mistake was being born, otherwise Kushina might still be alive with her sensei and teammate. Naruto snorted and claimed they were real warriors because they died for those they loved instead of living as cowards. Talking about them made him angry, and soon he killed all of them. Kakashi here removed his eye first, then beheaded him. Naruto killed Iruka with a lighting fist covering his free hand. Moving on to the others, he killed Sakura and the elders with the greatest ease. Funny enough, they asked the great Uchiha to save them, but he refused and just watched on with quiet apprehension. When his time came, instead of helping Tsunade, he settled for impaling her through the heart and leaving her to die on the ground while walking up to his former friend and going down on his knees. "Kill me." "Why?" "Because I must atone for my sins and this is the only way I can. Please Naruto, let me see my family again and beg yours for forgiveness." Naruto stared down before killing him with a quick strike to the chest. "Your sins are forgiven due to you owning them. Find peace in the next life unlike everyone else." Naruto turned to Tsunade, who was struggling to stand from the pain coming from the hole in her chest. "No one will allow this to stand, Naruto. You are a monster to everyone and will be seen as so." Naruto smiled. "Good to know." Out of nowhere Naruto raised his hand to the sky and out of it came some different looking kinds of monsters the size of building. They turned to him. "Kill everyone, leave nothing alive in this world. The age of shinobi must die today." The beasts roared from the command and proceeded out of the village, heading out into the world to kill everyone. He turned to Tsunade and turned his sword into black blood on the ground and walked up to his former godmother. "You will pay, Naruto. The gods won't allow this to continue without retribution." Naruto snorted. "It was the gods that made me what I am today. From here on out, the lives of the shinobi end and then I will be allowed to go to Nirvana." Tsunade growled. "Nirvana is the last place you will go, Hagoromo will assure it. It was his will you suffered for the betterment of the world and so we can find peace at long last." Naruto smiled. "Oh, don't worry, the old man will join all of you in limbo, fool." Naruto started whispering under his breath and out of his hand came a black matter with all the colors coming from it. "With this I assure your damnation, I'll see you in the passing gate soon, Hag. Never forget, your sins are what brought me into this world." Without another warning he erased her from this world, leaving nothing behind, not even a dark outline of her there. From there Naruto sighed and waited for his pets to wipe out the rest of the world. It took several hours before finally the world was cleansed of humans. Any that were truly innocent in this world were spared, but others were tortured and killed for their sins. The Bijuu sighed knowing it was finally over and they would finally give their favorite person peace. But without warning they appeared out of the seal and appeared standing there in front of Naruto. But instead of their giant forms they were in the shapes of humans with features on their body, making them similar to their demon forms. Kurama had the biggest surprise, being a busty red hair woman with dark red eyes. "Naruto-kun." Kurama watched in sadness as her friend was smiling at them while his body was disappearing from this world. "Please Kurahime, don't cry for me, for I've accomplished my dream. Please go out and make a world of your own creation and remember, fear nothing, for you are the one that is protected by the true gods of this universe." Naruto smiled and soon disappeared from the world, leaving nothing behind. Naruto. The demons wept for their long-gone friend, never to know if he will ever find peace in his future life. Passing of Life Gate. Standing there Naruto saw his parents waiting for him at the gate. They were ignoring the people trying to talk to them and begging Kami to let them through the gate. Naruto approached, leading to the group glaring at him and trying to attack him, but they couldn't move thanks to Kami and the other gods preventing them. Approaching her he bowed. "I've done it. I know, your power is the will of the Seraph. Know that if you are reborn in the world things will be different. Things will change and you will remember nothing. Are you comfortable with this?" Naruto nodded his head. "Yes, I just want to spend time with my parents and the others that cared about me now. Until that time comes, may I please pass the gate?" She smiled. "Of course, go Naruto, you are a free man for the first time." She glared at the other mortals. "As for the rest of you, I condemn you to limbo, never to see the exit. May the demons and monsters there have mercy on your soul, because I sure as hell don't plan to give you any." With a swipe of her hand, they were gone and Naruto rejoined his parents in paradise. Not knowing the adventures that are going to be coming his way and the change he will have on this world in the future. Centuries later. A blonde-haired teen was awaking from his bed and groaning from the sight of the sun. Trying to move his arms he saw that they were constricted by a red-hair woman and a black-hair one. Both had smiles on their faces, but one was more perverted than the other. Sighing he quickly and with complete silence, escaped their death grips and hopped out of bed. From this point, he took a quick shower and had his uniform on for Kuo Academy. Looking at himself in the mirror he ran his hands over his whisker-mark birthmarks and saw his eyes were mismatching. One was purple and the other was red, showing he was distinct. But in reality he used to have blue eyes similar to his asshole of a father who abandoned him due to him being unable to wield a holy sword. In time he was sure he told some people where to find him because he was then put into an illegal research facility that experimented on him for a while before he was freed from his prison by unknown means. He heard a dark voice in his head freeing him and then he felt power coming out of his body which he was unsure what it was. From there he awoke in Kuo forests and was found by both the women and brought to his home as their own. Looking over at them he saw that the red-hair woman had a pout on her face while the black-hair one had a smaller frown while pushing her F-cup breasts up slightly. She had black eyes and long black hair with slightly pointy ears under her hair that were barely visible. The other had 2 fox ears popping out her head and some tails moving under the sheets. These two were Kushina and Makoto, a Seraph fallen angel and Kyuubi Yakai. Both were beautiful in their own right, with Makoto having the bigger breasts while Kushina possessed a better-looking ass. From there he could tell they were both in great shape and both were trying to cover him in their scent in the hopes of showing other women that they were the ones claiming him. That was another thing that was odd to him, they wanted him to join in on their marriage down the line. Yeah, that is right, both of them were married to each other and considered the hottest couple in the entire world, or at least in the supernatural world. From what he gathered, Makoto had some father issues and hated her father for being an asshole and a player that left her mother a while back before she died. From there, she met someone that acted like an entitled asshole to her and she put him in his place before meeting Kushina. Well, Kushina was more there for herself because she was wanting to get away from the politics in Kyoto. They met and soon married after having some time to get to know each other. From what he gathered, she knew his father, but apparently he cheated on her with his mother while they were dating and she left. He was also told he acted like he did in his facade, but he was more genuine about his feeling and emotions. Naruto shrugged it off and soon they were one big awkward family. Naruto asked. "Why are you two in my bed again?" "We wanted to spend the night with you since you are so warm." Makoto smiled at Kushina's answer. "Speak for yourself, I just wanted to cuddle up to our favorite hunk." Hoping he was in the mood for some taboo-like fun. She fluttered her eyes at him and he rolled them. Early on it took him by surprise and he flustered, but now, it was just something that she did and he was comfortable with it. More since he knew she would not force herself on him without his consent. That was a bonus at least of being so close to her to choose when they would have sex, he guessed. "Yeah, well, I'm closer to him anyway, it doesn't matter what my motives were, but honestly, I have some shame unlike you, black hair pain in the ass." Makoto narrowed her eyes. "Want to say that again, you damn vermin?" This ignited Kushina, who leapt to her feet on his bed and Makoto doing the same. Naruto covered his eyes after seeing they were once again naked in front of him, leaving him wondering what the hell is going on. I mean, they were married, so why are they fighting over him like two teenagers in love? It was ridiculous in his mind and something he was not going to worry about. "Okay, well, I have breakfast to make along with lunch, so if you two are fighting, keep it to a minimum, would ya?" Naruto walked out of the room and felt the pressure rise from his room and sighed, knowing they were going to fight with everything and probably wreck his room for him to clean up later. Naruto made his way downstairs and cleaned up the kitchen a bit from some of the old ramen cups and some other stuff that was lying around. For some reason he even found one of Makoto's bras in the sink. He didn't bother thinking more about it and just tossed it on the couch. Naruto then put his breakfast together of a bagel with peanut butter on it before having his lunch made with some rice and some meat that he would have to warm up at the school. From there, he grabbed his bag and was out the door before hearing both of them shouting for him to come back to answer their argument. Naruto avoided the conversation and proceeded running down the street, arriving at the school a half hour early. Upon entering the campus he felt all eyes on him since he was the odd one out in the school. More in the sense that he was a blonde teen that looked more like a rugged bad boy rather than someone that was princely. More in the sense that he knew there was another blonde he got compared to all the time and was told that he was the prince of the school. Naruto ignored this and proceeded into the main school building, hoping to reach his class without trouble or running into the school president. For some reason her and some of her friends were watching him like a hawk and he had no idea why considering he knew what they were. Naruto had a good relationship with the goddess and ruler of Asia as a whole, Amaterasu, who told him about the devils. She explained that they were settling into the city about a year ago and for some reason the two sisters of the mass were here with their peerages. From what he gathered she wanted to keep Themo out, but for some reason it came down her either doing this and having them on a different city without someone to monitor them or them there where he could watch them. His orders from her was as followed. Watch what they do and if they fail to uphold their end of the contract, then she was to be told immediately. She wanted to avoid more conflict, especially since the Nico race massacre that left a bad taste in his mouth. For some reason he sympathized with the cat demons that were killed for what they were capable of. From what he was told, it was all for one devil that was abusing the one that is now considered the most wanted criminal in the underworld. Naruto sighed, it was times like this he felt something in himself telling him that he should eradicate them and leave them nothing more than husks. Since he was a child he always had this voice in his head along with another power that seemed to be lurking beneath the surface. From what he was told it was a power no one could explain, but it didn't do anything to him other than imbuing him with great powers. He never knew what that meant, but Amaterasu said it was something that only Kami could tell him, the primordial goddess. Entering his class he sat down near the window and relaxed there to wait for the day to get on with. But the minute he looked back up front he saw Sona and Tsubaki both standing there. One was black hair with a bob-style haircut and purple eyes and pink glasses. Next to her was Tsubaki who had long black hair, was slightly bigger breasted than her friend, and seemed to have mismatching eyes like himself. They both walked up to him and he sighed knowing what this is probably about. "Can I help you, school president?" The boys were angry he was talking to the two hottest girls in school behind the great ladies with such casual inference, but he did not care. "Yes Naruto, I would like to ask you if you would mind joining me in my office at lunch." Naruto rolled his eyes. "I do mind, so would you kindly stop asking me?" Tsubaki narrowed her eyes. "If the student president wants you to attend then you should." Naruto looked at her. "Well, she might be president, but I have no obligation to answer her beck and call like a dog. I'm sure you know what that is like, wouldn't you?" She was furious about the statement, but Sona coughed. "Regardless Naruto, I won't stop asking until you come to my office." Naruto rolled his eyes. "Then this is going to be something we are going to repeat throughout the day. Indeed, hope to see you soon Naruto." She and her second in command left the room not before glaring at the boy once more. Naruto smirked at her, getting her to bristle some more. Out of nowhere he saw a bald-head kid and a boy with glasses rushing him. "Tell us, what is the president of the school wanting from you?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Nothing much, just wants to talk to me about something. Not that I care, what does it matter to you?" The shaved kid grabbed his shirt. "Because two of the hottest girls are asking to talk to you and you blow them off. Most guys would cut off their arms to have such beautiful women trying to reach out to them." Naruto took his hand and removed it from his jacket before pushing him away. "Yeah, well, I'm not most guys. I've got enough trouble at home for crap like this. Plus there is someone that I'm interested, but she is out of the country." "Wait, who?" Naruto snorted. "It's none of your business now, buzz off." Naruto returned to looking out the window wondering what was going to happen today. The door opened and entering the room he saw someone that made him drop his jaw. She was a woman with silver hair wearing a gray business suit with blue eyes and a bow in her hair. She had a big smile on her face and she showed to be in about her 20s and was drop-dead gorgeous. "Hello class, I'm your new teacher Ms. Roswis, it is a pleasure to meet all of you." Holy shit, a hot new teacher. Soon the entire room of boys started breaking out in murmurs about the hot new teacher. Naruto felt his stomach drop, there she was, the woman he met all those years ago. Flashback. Around the time that Naruto was about 13 he was there with Amaterasu to meet with a man named Aden. Next to him he had a woman with silver hair that he called his bodyguard on this excursion. From what he gathered they wanted to talk about a potential peace treaty, that is to keep them safe from the likes of the other races due to the recent devil incident. Walking up to the silver hair woman he smiled. "Hi, I'm Naruto." She smiled back. "I'm Roswis, it is a pleasure to meet you, young one." He laughed. "Yes, same, so what is a beautiful woman like yourself doing with Lord Aden? Shouldn't you be back there hanging out with your boyfriend or something?" Roswis was blushing up a storm before muttering something, and then Naruto thought, "I'm sorry, is it a girl then?" Now steam was coming out of her ears and she shouted. "No, it's nothing like that." "Hahaha. Kid, I haven't seen her that flustered in a long while." "Nice going, I really think you raised her mood up." Looking at Aden he smiled and pat the boy on his head, even though it annoyed him. Truth is, she is known as the one Valkyrie that has no real boyfriend or male love interest in all of these centuries. "But now that you brought it up, is it possible you like women, my dear?" She got red to the point she looked like a ripe apple and quickly hit her boss over the head. "No, I'm straight. Don't you dare think I'm into something so sinful." "What's sinful about it?" Roswis turned back to Naruto and he continued, "If two people love each other, then there is no reason they can't be together no matter their sex. I have two mothers that are married to each other and are happily married for several years now. Isn't it uncomfortable?" "Not really, because of everything I've been through, this the first time I felt real love. But if you want I can help you figure out men if that is what's bothering you." Roswis blushed again and this time Aden laughed at what she was probably thinking. In the end they agreed to meet up while he was around Japan and talk, and in time she became enamored about him and wanted to get to know him better. Soon a new crush was born and she never knew she was competing with two women that wanted his love just as much as she did. Flashback end. Ultimately, they both had some form of feelings for each other and he was not sure where it was going to go. But he would worry about the details later. He was going to find out why his friend was here and what her goals being here are. An hour passed and soon he moved on to his next class, but he left Roswis a note saying they needed to talk at lunch. Time flew by for a while, and then he appeared on the roof where he then was joined by his friend. "It's good to see you again, Naruto." "Likewise, but I got to ask, what is the purpose of you being here?" Roswis blushed cutely. "Well, I did this really big job for Auden, and he asked if I wanted anything, and I simply told him I wanted to live in Japan with you. So he passed it on to Amaterasu, and she got the paperwork done for me to be a teacher here." "I see." Naruto thought about that perverted old man wanting him to claim her, and that was something they would talk about at a later time. "Look, I'm happy you are here, but it is dangerous for you." Devils live in the city, and currently I'm monitoring them to make sure nothing gets out of hand at this point. On top of that, I have to make sure the humans are safe from those that would kill them for sick joy or other races invading the territory then." "Well, if that is the case, then you need to work on your sensory ability. I sensed several fallen angels in the city today." "What? Are you serious?" "Yes, I am, and I'm sure they are here for a purpose since they are all gathered up in one location." "Damn it, then that means there is something in the city they possibly want. I'll have to report this then." Roswis stopped him. "Wait, we should see what they are after first and then report it. That way we can know if someone else knows if they are here and why they didn't act. I mean, the devils are here as well, right?" "Yeah, you're right. How did this go on without them knowing? I'm suspicious about the whole situation now." "Exactly, and don't worry, Naruto, I will be with you every step of the way." "But to know, so you want to eat your lunch with me?" She smiled and soon they began eating, not knowing they were being watched in the distance. Sona was watching what was going on the roof but not able to hear what was going on. She had some suspicions when her sister said a new teacher was showing up and that she was to leave her alone. Sona tried to get more information out of her sister, but unfortunately she couldn't due to reasons, and that she threatened that she was stepping on boundaries that shouldn't be crossed. When her sister got serious with her, that meant she was to pay attention and not cross her. While she might act more mature than her, she knew that power and skill she was still light years ahead of her, considering she was one of the mass and considered the strongest female devil in the underworld next to Grafia. Next to Sona was Ria's Gremory, who was watching the two with interest as well. From what she saw of Naruto, he didn't really have any special gifts or talents other than smarter than the average student. He also appeared to have a very closed-off file that her brother wouldn't give her, and even mentioned that she was to not cause any trouble around him. For what? She had no clue, but she hoped one day to find out what he was so afraid of in this near future. At the same time, they both knew that something was going on and planned on monitoring them. "So Sona, what is your plan?" "Simple, I'm going to have my peerage members follow him home to see where his home life is and if there is something odd there." "Interesting choice. I'm going to try and get Kaneko to get a read on the woman and see if she can recognize her magic from somewhere specific or if she is worthy of recruiting into my peerage." "Don't you already have your eyes on Issei though?" She laughed. "Yes, but this is in case that doesn't fold out like I hope." "Okay, let me know if you need help with him, Rias." She waved it off. "There is no problem, I know the fallen angel is going to attack him sometime in the near future, and when he dies I can recruit him into my peerage then." "I see, please tread lightly. From what my sister said, the gods of this country are not too keen on seeing their people dying needlessly. Once he is revived there won't be a problem." Sona sighed and waved off her lack of concern since she was worried about how things were going to unfold in the next few days. Time skip. The day had ended and Naruto was on his way home while sensing someone was following him all the way there. He sighed, figured the devils would be monitoring him, especially after watching him while eating lunch with Roswis. Yes, they knew they were being watched, it is why they were not talking about relationship stuff or politics, considering they would probably pick up on it through their eavesdropping. But they knew they were watching them from what they thought was a safe location. Naruto warned her to watch her step and try not to use magic unless absolutely necessary, considering this would bring more trouble to her and him. Arriving at his house, he sighed and opened the door before activating the seal around the house. This prevented people from peering into the house or feeling the magic that was inside. His sweat dropped. The place was decorated as if it was a love hotel now. He sighed and saw Makoto lying on the couch in a revealing black lingerie that he could see the outline for her panties that barely covered her crotch and a bra that was hidden well with how small it was. Kushina walked downstairs dressed in a wide-open bottom lingerie where she had a thong on and a bra that was either hidden or not there, given how erect her nipples were behind the top. If he was honest, this was shocking what they did in such a short amount of time while he is gone. But then again, it was probably by magic, so he wasn't too surprised by it. "What is going on?" "We are welcoming you home, Naruto-kun." Makoto batted her eyes at him while Kushina was bending over for him to see her ass. Naruto sighed, used to this kind of seduction that he was practically immune. "Sure, listen, we have a problem at the supernatural case." Makoto and Kushina both stopped their seduction and put on serious faces for the situation in question. What is going on, Naruto-kun? Naruto looked at Kushina. It would seem the devils are finally growing tired of my constant rejection of their advances and wants me to finally come in. But refusing once more, they are now sending their peerage members to stalk me at this point. I see, that is a problem. Is the seal up? Yes, I activated before walking into the house, but that is not the only problem we are facing. Apparently some fallen angels are here in the city gathering in one location and we didn't know about it. I see, that is annoying considering that asshole should have better control of his people than that. Naruto nodded his head to Makoto, knowing that she already had a low opinion of her father as a person, but knew he was a good leader in contrast. But it seemed someone was going against them and that it was irritating to her. So overall we guess they are after something in the city, but I have no idea what it could possibly be. How did you find this out today, Naruto-kun? Naruto sighed, knowing this was going to earn a heated reaction from Kushina and Makoto. I met Roswis today in my school and she apparently was transferred her as a reward from Aden. That Valkyrie is here. Kushina's eyes were burning with rage and her chakra was leaking out of her body in great amounts. Seriously, we already have each other to compete with. Are you telling me we have to fight her as well? Naruto frowned at Makoto. Now is not the time for this. The two growled but agreed. Their love rival could wait for another time. First they would deal with the devils and fallen in the city and then face that woman. So what is the plan? I'm going to contact Amaterasu to put some pressure on the devils to back off from us, but if that doesn't work, we will have to recruit Yasaka and the other leaders to our side. Okay then. On top of that, Naruto glared out the window where he knew the member of the devil peerage was. They couldn't hear them or see what they are doing at this point, but it was apparent they were trying to figure out for their king. Naruto turned to them, we need to deal with our little spy. Naruto stood up and picked up a wooden bakken before heading out of the house to the devil. You can come out of the tree, fool, I know you are there. Out of the tree came a blonde-haired pretty boy who was wearing the school uniform of the school. Who are you? He smiled. Apologizes, my name is Kibayudo, sorry to bother, but I had some stuff I needed to ask you from my president at the school and her friend Sona. Naruto narrowed his eyes more. I believe my personal life and my home life is of no interest to them. Since you people can't seem to take the hint and leave me alone, I think it is time we settled our issues here. Naruto held his bakken out and aimed it at him, face me. Well, I really shouldn't. Naruto snorted at how he was thinking that he was some weak human that barely could keep up with him. He was going to prove him wrong with this one bout. Don't look down on me even if you are one of those demons that wander this world. His eyes widened at his comment, but before he could react, Naruto covered the distance between him and the blonde knight. Kiba, acting on instinct, summoned a real sword to his hand to block the strike, but he soon saw it gone. The wind was knocked out of him thanks to the strike and he was sent flying away from the teen. Naruto growled. You devils think you're so damn special thanks to the power of your pieces in your body. But the reality is you're not. I'm stronger and faster than you by a mile and can crush you with ease. So start taking this fight seriously or you are going to be crushed under my skill. I have no choice then, sorry about this, Naruto-san. He summoned more swords to his side and Naruto felt a presence in his head. Sword rebirth, interesting, his power will serve us well. Take it and devour the power in his soul for us to become even stronger. Naruto shook it off but felt something different. Like the voice was trying to show him something, so going with it, he put his hand to the ground and out of nowhere, he summoned a dark sword. Kiba was shocked, this was unprecedented and he was not sure what to make of it. I see, he paid attention to Naruto who was examining his new blade, so this is sword rebirth. You can create demonic weapons at any rate, as long as you can think it up and know more about them over time. Is that it? How did you? Don't know myself, sometimes I can do this and then other times I can't do it. The only thing that I can think of is that something wants me to win and use your power against you to do it. Kinda an interesting concept, don't you think? Falling at the hands of your own sacred gear. Indeed, but you might be able to copy, but you have no mastery of it. He grabbed a black sword and charged Naruto with a swift swing. But Naruto counters the attack with his own dark sword that breaks his blade on impact. Both were shocked and Naruto examined the sword some more, seeing it had a dark square guard similar to a katana sword but all black, Ichigo's sword. It would seem this blade is like yours, but mine is somehow even more powerful than your own. No. Naruto aimed the sword at him and charged a Kiba matching his speed prior, but before he can block the sword touched his neck. Move and you die, it is that simple. No. You must kill him. I commanded. Shut up, I don't know who you are, but you are not in charge here. No, you must listen. We can grow faster if we just kill him and take his sacred gear. This way we can reach our full power quicker. I refuse, I don't want to become stronger that way. Fool, don't you get it? It is necessary, otherwise it will come back and you won't be able to control it like last time. What is it? Time's up, damn it, next time feed on the power of those that cross our path. Before Naruto could confront the voice more, it was gone, and soon he felt himself lighter than before. Looking at the teen, he saw Kiba was terrified about fighting him any longer. Naruto turned his sword away and made it disappear. "Leave my home and never return. Next time I will take your arm." "I understand, but please tell me, do you have a sacred gear?" "I'm not sure, it is a power I've had since the beginning of my life. No one is safe from this dark power. Leave before the others decide to kill you." Kiba was about to ask who he was talking about, but saw a Kyuubi red hair woman wearing a Kunoichi outfit and a black hair woman with fallen angel wings behind her and red eyes glaring at him. He realized he grossly underestimated the power of Naruto, and the two women were just as powerful if not more so than him, if he was reading them right. Knowing when to run, he took off in a mad dash to avoid getting killed by these two powerful beings and to tell his king that Sona was right, there is something going on, but what it is, he didn't want to find out. Naruto sighed. He looked at his hand and felt for the power from earlier, but he couldn't draw on it. "What the hell is this?" "Naruto-kun." Turning to Mikoto, she frowned at him. "I think after today you can obviously say it is your sacred gear." "Maybe, but it feels different, almost demonic at the same time of being sentient to the highest order." "Most are sentient, but the power, it might be something to do with the fact your gear was probably a blessing from Kami herself." "Maybe." Naruto turned back to the house and proceeded back inside, hoping some sleep will clear up this mess in the morning. Kushina and Mikoto traded looks. "When do you think we should tell him the truth about his past?" Mikoto sighed. "You know the rules. Until he comes to realizing who he is first, we can't do anything. Kami forbidden us from doing so, remember?" Kushina frowned. It was true considering they were reincarnations of their own kind. Funny thing about their situation is that they were the reincarnations that could remember their pasts. She knew she was Naruto's mother in a lifetime before now, but it is different now. She was born a demon instead of his mother, so their relationship was perfectly fine. Mikoto was the same boat talking about her, and a few others were reincarnated into this world, but they only knew each other, and Minato was here with some others. From what she gathered, the one thing that was constant was Minato was his father, but whether he was the same kind person was obviously not. From the time she spent with him, his personality was corrupted by his time with the people of the church, and the way he threw Naruto away was also a sign he was not the same man she married. What really changed him she was not sure, but she was sure he had an idea of their past somewhere in that brain of his, but is not aware. She figured if he was aware then things might change, but now that she saw what he did she didn't care. Her love for him in the previous life was gone, and she wanted to do things in this world she couldn't in their old world and wanted to make the most of it. From what Kami told them, Naruto was given a sacred gear of her own design, however there was one major drawback. To help control the curse of the Seraph, she gave the soul of a powerful monster in his sacred gear that could counter it. This creature was apparently the bonding partner of some kind of warrior. Well, they were dead, that was part of a Shinigami, but she was not 100% sure considering she was aware of only one Shinigami in her life. But she was assured this was from a time long before their own, and after that incident, their world was erased to prevent something like that happening again. What it was she was never told, but it was really bad that she had to erase the powers of that era and force the Shinigami to never allow something like that to happen again. Back to the current problem, it was obvious that the sacred gear was starting to get restless and wanted to eat more of the powers of the world to increase its own strength. By that, it could now become a balance breaker and give Naruto the boost in power he needs to finally ascend to near godhood and suppress the curse once and for all. But even then they had to decide what was worse. The curse or the monster of unknown origin or reasoning. "We'll figure this out soon, Kushina, I promise, and we will make Minato pay for his sins." "I know, but I really don't care about him anymore, only Naruto-kun." She smiled as well. "Me too, let's go inside and cuddle up to him." Dream world at night. Sitting bound in a chair was a dark figure. He was roaring at everything in his range and trying to break the bonds that controlled him. But he could see it was useless and was forced to calm down at some point to avoid having their chains tightened. He can't escape his destiny, it is the will of the Seraph to wipe the slate clean. Out of the shadows a towering figure appeared with horns on his head and dark golden eyes glowing in the dark. "Maybe you are right about that. But as long as I'm here I will be the one that gains my freedom to unleash my power on the world. Fool, Kami-sama locked you away in this gear to prevent that from happening. You and I both know you can't take over his body or mind, it is futile." The monster let out a small chuckle. "You and Kami think you know me. You don't understand anything, I don't want out. As long as death comes to those that tried to control us years ago, I don't care about him taking everything from me. You truly are nothing more than mindless beasts just like the human filth of this world that pollute and kill for their own pleasure. That is the difference, I don't hide behind oaths and ideology, I kill because I can and those that crossed me die for their attempts. It won't matter, soon he will come to me and I will reveal the power of the curse and soon I will be free to cleanse this world again. We shall see, fool." The demon turned its head to the sky to see a blood-red moon illuminating over them a little bit to reveal a white skin and a blonde hair on a teen in chains. Our destiny begins now. Chapter end. Okay people, be honest with me about this idea. I have been pondering how could I make Cursed Child better, and this is what I got. I know some parts are rough or not explained out or too explained at points, but I promise they will be cleared up as the story goes. But if there are pressing questions, please let me know and I will do my best to explain anything without spoiling the story too much. Also note that I'm not doing a Ria's harem for this story or devil-centric harem at all. It is because I want to try the angle of going with some characters that I haven't tried yet and see how they play out before introducing them into my other stories at this point and see if I can get their personalities down at this point. Hope you all enjoy, please leave comments and if you need to critic, please be courteous about it. Chapter 2. Naruto yawned, today was a bit of a drag for him. He had to listen to some voices in his head while he was sleeping, arguing about their positions inside of his body. More in the sense, their state of freedom and their importance. While he knew about his sacred gear, he did not know what the other voice was. When he asked Kushina and Makoto about it, they seemed to freeze up a little bit that was unnoticeable, but he could still see it just by the changes in their stance. From what he gathered they knew what it was, but they weren't willing to tell him. Meaning that it was something they either couldn't tell him or something that was part of something that he would discover later. Oh well, it didn't matter to him. Honestly, he was only focused on getting through his own day. For the most part, dealing with the devils that now will know he has a sacred gear and the skill to fight off a devil. Truth be told, he knew how to fight the supernatural for a while. His gear was apparently a first-generation gear, since there is no other recording of its existence in history. From what he can seem to gather about the gear, it has the power to copy other sacred gears and use all their powers, but with some modification here and there. But the real power of the gear is that he can rip the original gear out of someone without killing them and assimilate it into his own. From what he knew, his gear feared on other sacred gears and grew stronger over time. But the actual gear inside of him, he could use it whenever he wanted to and without any consequences other than more people would be coming for him. But that was a problem he was facing. His gear was wanting more sacred gears to feed on ever since he took his first few gears a couple of years ago. From what he knew, he took a powerful blood-red spear from this guy that was using it for his own purpose and corruption. Another gear that granted him the power of absolute fire and another that allowed him to view the souls of others and learn what they are hiding and how to fix it. The more he learned about the gears, the more he hated his own. It made it hard for him to talk to others due to his gear wanting to rip that gear out of their body and devour it. Plus he knew the devils now were going to be on edge with him due to what he did to that pretty boy yesterday. He knew that he reported back to his peerage and whoever was here in town about his actions and power. This meant he was going to be targeted more, meaning he would have to fight more, and that was something he didn't want to do. While he was open to fighting them when no one was around and no one innocent would get hurt, he hated fighting in places like schools and other busy places where someone could accidentally get killed. On top of that, he knew that Amaterasu was going to deal with this mess for him, and that would be the end of it. Otherwise the devil factions risks getting evicted and banned from Japan, on top of angering the goddess of the sun and her allies. Well, that is not a normal threat, but with the combined forces of the Nords, it really raised the bar in arguments. If you want to fight, you'll get one. Plus he knew that there was someone that protected them more as well, of even higher standings. Naruto knew that among the primordial in this world there are only 3 in existence. First there was Yami, ruler of the darkness, someone that ruled a world known as Limbo and was there to deal with the darkest figures in history. She was feared above most figures other than her own siblings, as she is considered the weakest of them. The next being the Shinigami, who was the one in charge of those are to be judged in death. He is a being beyond understanding and something that was just a force of nature that only did what was required of it from time to time. But the one that was to fear, hell, even Office and Great Red would never challenge her, Kami, the goddess of the primordial. It was rumored due to her powers she actually created a counterpart of hers from her own flesh and blood known as God. Looking up, Naruto sensed someone waiting for him at the school entrance, and it was Sona and Rias with their peerages in tow. They were glaring at him while Kiba was smiling nervously, and some of them were just smiling or just staring at him. He stopped in front of the group. "Can I help you with something?" Sona narrowed her eyes. "You can tell us who you work for." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Oh really? Who says I have to tell you anything?" Rias smiled arrogantly. "Well, obviously us, since this is devil territory and we run it. Meaning that anything going on here is our responsibility." Naruto snorted. "Really? Then what about the humans that are dying all over the city? What about the fallen angels that are in the city illegally? What are you doing about these situations, oh great devil leaders of Kuo?" Naruto kept his hands to his side but was ready to summon his sacred gear to his side. "You have no right to question us, human." Sona pushed her glasses up. "Why are you here? What are you doing with the Kyuubi and Seraph fallen angel?" Naruto narrowed his eyes. That is not your responsibility, and if you ever refer to my mothers like that again, I promise you regret it. Sona's peerage soon gathered some magic. How dare you talk to the president like that? Yeah, who the fuck do you think you are talking down to us? Be ready to beg for mercy, fool. Naruto wanted to laugh, sure in numbers this was going to be difficult due to him not knowing their powers, but he was sure he could handle them. Rias was gathering some of her pot and Sona forming a blue summoning circle. Answer us or face judgment. Naruto dropped his bag and summoned his sword. Make me devil, bitch. Sona growled and Rias gathered her magic into her hand and fired it. Naruto cut the attack in half but saw one of the girls charging at him with her fist aiming for his face. Naruto dodged a strike before hitting her with his sword across the stomach. Due to the cut she fell to the ground in pain until another girl appeared above him. He saw she was coming down with a stomp and rolled out of the way. The road was cracked from the impact and he knew. Okay, definitely a rook. Good thing I read about those peerages while studying in the church. They are strong and durable, but their weakness is speed and magic resistance. Naruto found another sword aimed at him and blocked, having it shattered. Didn't you learn your lesson last time? Naruto jumped away from a bolt of lightning coming at him from above. Naruto growled, this was starting to anger him and he wanted to unleash his power, but not with such close proximity to the school. Naruto managed to pull out his phone and type in a quick message to Mikoto and Kushina. Devils attacking me, need backup now. Call whomever, just get here quick. Naruto put his phone away just in time to dodge another water attack. He cut down another girl that charged him recklessly but felt something wrapping around his arm. Looking down he saw it was a golden line coming from the blonde boy in the back, smiling smugly. Excellent job, Saji. Thank you, President, take him down. Everyone was gathering their magic and aiming it straight at him while others were just watching from the distance. You should have listened to me before, now you'll be nothing more than a memory. Forgotten in this world. Sona and the group aimed all their spells at him and Naruto felt something coming through his mind. In a dark room he saw an old man floating in the air while he is strapped to a table. You are nothing more than means to an end. With your death the world will forget what you have done and you'll be nothing. No, I will not fade away. Naruto screamed when the spells hitting him causing a massive explosion. That is the end of that. Ria smiled, happy they dealt with a potential threat. Sona sighed. Sad he didn't take me up on my offer of joining my peerage, but what is done is done. The group laughed lightly. Yeah, but at least we don't have to deal with his arrogant ass. The group agreed on that, but Saji was frowning. Why isn't my gear releasing him? Everyone turned back to the cloud and saw that Naruto was standing there but unscarred and freed from his binding. He had his head down and was holding the tether, not allowing Saji to withdraw. He pulled on it and tried to mentally recall his gear, but it wouldn't respond to his commands. Soon he felt something draining from his body and saw his gear appearing on Naruto's arm that was holding his gear. So this is the absorption line that I heard so much about, huh? Interesting for sure. The voice that was talking was Naruto, but they saw his blue eyes were blank when looking at them. Before they could respond they felt a crushing presence enter, with it showing it to be Mikoto flying in the air with her wings, showing she was a seraph. Kushina was next to Naruto, showing off all of her tails and ears, while the eyes had become dark red with slits. Naruto, are you okay? Looking at her he smiled. Yeah, but they caught me good and for some reason I feel drowsy after seeing some kind of ghost old man with horns. Sleep, Naruto. She casted a sleeping spell on Naruto and his gears disappeared. He put on a tree near the entrance and turned to the teens. You know, thanks to this little stunt you put your race in a shit of trouble with the Shinto faction. Kushina growled while allowing her power to flare, forcing the kings to back up from her, while Mikoto landed on the ground with her arms across her chest. It accentuated her breasts due to her being in an almost bondage outfit that stood out more than most outfits that has been seen in this world. But the rage in her eyes was scaring them, along with the dark holy magic coming off her body in large quantities. Ria's getting her arrogance back said. You two should be begging us for forgiveness since you are here illegally without our notice. It was lucky he survived that last attack, but it showed he was not ready for someone of our caliber. Kushina raised an eyebrow. You mean just because there was a shit ton of you and only one of him? Oh yeah, you are total badasses. She rolled her eyes as she was saying this, angering Rias. I don't have to take this from someone that is going to face the wrath of the four Maus. Kushina growled and soon started to gather chakra around her body, along with Senjutsu scaring Kaneko. If she was able to do this, then that meant she was as strong as her sister, if not more, since she was doing it effortlessly. But before the two could act, a portal opened up and out of it came a red hair man wearing gold and black armor and a silver hair maid, along with a woman wearing a magical girl outfit. But next to them was a woman with long black hair, golden eyes that seemed to gleam as if they were fire, and a long black dress hugging her curves. See, this is what I'm talking about. You seems to have not kept the control you claim you would have. Surzic sighed. I know, but But nothing, you've proven that your sister are not ready to rule one of my kingdoms, and it is stressing to me how far this mess is getting out of control. Riaz was the first to act. Who are you, ma'ams? The woman growled at her. You will stay silent, brat. Next word out of your mouth could mean your death, is that clear? Riaz gulped while her brother sighed. Riaz, this is a murderasu and she is coming to us with a list of complaints that I didn't think were true, but it seems some of them have value from what I'm seeing. He looked at the boy resting against a tree and the Kyuubi and Seraph fallen angel, staring them down with rage filling their eyes. He saw his wife glaring back, but he motioned her to stand down in fear of causing a greater issue. I'm disappointed, Sona. I thought out of the two of you this would be something to prove that so-called maturity you like to talk about. But you seem to have failed in this regard, being no better than Riaz. Seraph shocked her sister, never in her life has she ever treated her with such disappointment and anger. But sister, he was here illegally. No, he wasn't. Everyone turned to the goddess who was glaring at them. He was in this city before any of you ever came here. There are certain guidelines that you have to follow while living here and ruling it. She used air quotes for her the word ruling, showing she was not taking them seriously. One of the biggest rules in place was that you were to leave Naruto alone and his fellow compatriots, and you just tried to kill him. I should kill all of you, but I don't need the paperwork. But we didn't know. Really, Riaz, I sent you the paper discussing the treaty we signed for you to be here. It clearly states this rule along with everything else that needs to be done. Riaz blushed. She had received that paper, as did Sona, but neither of them bothered to read, just assuming they knew what their duties were. Yeah, well, other than that, what can you say we did wrong then, huh? Simple. I have reports there are fallen angels in the city illegally you should have dealt with already, and on top of that I had to be told some people are dying in the country, also because you are not doing your job and killing them. Mind explaining that? You know what, never mind, nothing you can say can justify this alongside the Nico race extinction that was done earlier, so don't bother. I want all of you gone now. Seraph panicked. Please, I know they screwed up, but please give them another chance, I promise this will not continue. The goddess growled. And risk more of my people killed. No, not going to happen. Seraph was thinking of anything that could be done until Seraph said. What if we gave you two things? One, we will hand you the devils that were responsible for the Nico massacre, so you can judge them. Seraph, what do you think? My job, Seraph. Now shut up, please. Amardrasu thought about it for a second before asking. What is the second thing? She bowed her head. You can place someone you trust in charge of the territory and to keep an eye on our sisters. If something happens again they can report them and we will make sure they are punished. Amardrasu really wanted to boot them out. But they were handing them the people that killed all those innocent Nikos and were also letting her pick someone she trusted to run the territory, someone she knew would be up for the job as well. Plus this would help smooth things over with the Elder Council of Yakai to make things better for them in the long run. Against my better judgment I will agree to the terms. My lady. She glared at Kushina, who glared back. They had a staring contest for a few seconds before Kushina backed down, not happy about her giving in. Turning back to the group she said. I want the information about the people who are responsible for the deaths in 3 days, or this deal is null and void, and I will give the sisters the warning before calling open season on devils, is that clear? Both nod their heads while she snapped her fingers, and out of a teleportation circle came a yakai, but not just any yakai, one that is considered almost godlike due to their rarity and power alone. She had long white almost silver hair flowing down her back, a red moon on her head, red whisker-like tattoos on her face, gold eyes, and wearing a white kimono that hugged her chest to the point that it showed a F-cup set of breasts with a well-firm ass. Around her shoulders were a fur line that seemed to go on endlessly and a pair of swords at her side. Her face was blank and she seemed to be looking on with disdain at the sight of devils that were in her presence. Then she saw Kushina and her mouth twitched slightly, then Mikoto and she slightly glared at her, but when she saw Naruto her eyes widened considerably. She quickly dashed over to him and checked him over to see if there was any damage to his body, but saw nothing wrong and sighed happily. Turning back to the goddess she bowed her head to her. Greetings, Lady Amaterasu, what can I do for you? She smiled. I've just been offered an interesting deal to let these girls stay on this territory and need someone to watch over them to make sure they adhere to our laws. I trust this is not a problem for you? She snorted. Of course not, this Inu Taisho is ready for anything, my lady. Amaterasu nodded her head before shooting the devils a warning look. One problem, one thing happens here and I find out you wish you left today, is that clear? The group bowed to the god and she disappeared in a torrent of fire. The Inu Taisho looked at the group and walked back over to Naruto to pick him up and take him back to her home. But this led to Kushina and Mikoto getting in front of her and having a heated standoff with the Inu. She growled lightly and reached for her swords. While this is going on, Grafia was scolding Riaz for her actions and the attempt of murder of someone that the goddess holds in high regards. More in a sense, they knew that she was connected to other gods and powerful beings that so much as upsetting her could lead to grave dangers. Now they were being forced to appease them by sending some nobles to their death at the hands of the yokai due to their sisters not knowing to stay away from Naruto. The boy in question just woke up and saw the Inu arguing with her mothers and greeted her. "Greetings Lady Sessamaru, it is an honor to see you again." He sat on his knees and bowed his head to her. She smiled slightly. "None of that Naruto-kun, please just call me Sasha." He smiled at her and nodded his head. But turned to glare at the devils before seeing the barrier around them was dispelling. Meaning that the humans could enter and they could finally get on with their day. Naruto said. "Kushina, Mikoto, I will see you at home." "Sasha, I guess you are here for a reason, so why don't you join me on campus to discuss what happened when I passed out?" She nodded her head while Naruto wasn't looking, stuck her tongue out quickly at the other women. They growled at her but retreated back to their home, waiting to surprise Naruto with some tender love and care. "She can't go onto school grounds, it is forbidden." Naruto narrowed his eyes at Sona while her sister sighed. "She can now, considering she is the new headmistress. From now on you two are on your best behavior, because if I do find out about something like this, then there will be problems. I'm not mom or dad, I'm not your brother over there, and I'm sure as hell ain't your friend. You just caused us a lot of trouble. The least you can do now is stay out of trouble, is that clear?" The girls bowed to her while Surzich sighed. "I agree with her, Riaz, one more incident and I will drag you to the underworld no matter the circumstances. I understand your situation, but don't test your luck, is that clear?" She sighed and nodded her head, allowing the three devils to return to the underworld. Naruto walked past them and said. "Next time you try me, I won't hold back in killing all of you." Kaneko narrowed her eyes. "We kicked your ass." Naruto smiled. "Oh yeah, you did in this fight, but the difference was I didn't know your skills and abilities, now I do. Meaning I can easily capitalize on anything I know as weaken your armor. But if you want to go around, that is fine with me. But I will aim to kill this time." Naruto summoned his sword again and Kaneko got ready to fight, if not for Sasha, going to call her this from now on, getting in between them. "There will be no more fighting here unless I say so, is that clear?" She gave Naruto a mild glance and he agreed, sending his sword away. But for Kaneko, she glared darkly with her eyes flashing red for a second. "You are a disgrace to the yokai race, and I know for a fact that compared to your sister you're nothing. Don't ever bother calling yourself a yokai, you shame all of us. Also, touch Naruto and I promise your death will be another that is made by my sword." Kaneko shivered in fear and bowed her head to the alpha female. She was someone that commanded respect from other yokai, especially since she could sense and smell. She was an Inu Taisho, a mythical wolf demon so powerful that they were rumored on par with those of the Kyuubi. Naruto snorted. "Oh yeah, thanks for the new sacred gear power, it'll come in handy even if I can use it fully." Naruto waved his hand at them while he and his friend walked onto campus, talking about the politics that were going to be set in place. Time skip. Naruto sighed and enjoyed his quiet evening. After having the situation with Sasha cleared up, he decided to attend class normally. From there, he saw that he was being watched by the devils again, and this time they were glaring at him whenever they had a chance to. Hell, he sensed one of them using magic in gym to try and trip him up, but he was able to counter this power. From there, he hung out with Roswis, who was nervous being around a powerful Inu Taisho, knowing of their power and seeing the look she was giving Naruto. Everyone knew that when a Taisho picks a mate, they keep them in sight and will fight all other females to stay the top bitch in this sense. Naruto exited campus, but he heard Issei in the distance. Apparently he had a date tomorrow. While he did not know the pervert well, he knew him enough to know that whatever date he was going on was something unusual. More in the sense of him saying that he had a girlfriend. Deciding on it, he was going to monitor the date tomorrow to make sure everything was on the up and up, considering there had been times he heard of mythical creatures tricking their human dates to kill them or eat them. He was going to make sure the brat didn't end up that way. Dreg. What are you talking about? The dragon, Dreg, the Welsh dragon and the one known as one of the heavenly dragons. Oh yeah, didn't he die with some kind of rival and their souls put into sacred gears, right? That's right, partner. Once more, he was a powerful sacred gear that it is considered one of the few gears that could destroy the world. If we had that power in our arsenal, I would be able to reach my balance breaker faster and you would have another weapon in your arsenal. How many times do I have to say it? I'm not just going to steal every sacred gear that comes our way, no matter how much you wish me to or how close you want to be to your balance breaker. Plus, copying their powers is working out for us. For now it is. But think, today you could have been killed by those filthy devils. What if someone comes along stronger than the group? What will you do? Your training can only take you so far at this point. But with a new sacred gear like that, boosted gear could prove beneficial to us. You make a good point, but that gear belongs to Issei, and I feel something in my gut telling me is destined for big things in the future. More like a spear in the gut if you ask me. I'm telling you, the fallen already have sensed his gear, it is only a matter of time before they come for him. If they take it or kill him before someone revives him, it could be disastrous for us. You mean you're right? Damn it. Listen to me, you little shit. The power I possess is out of this world. I have moves you can't use yet because you won't feed me power. If you put more sacred gears into me, I can then give you access to moves that no one can counter. Why? Because the power that is needed to use them is not in this world anymore. Think about it. You'll be one of a kind and a powerhouse at the same time. You'll finally be able to find those people that did this to us and take revenge against that asshole father of yours and his whore of a wife that he took. Come on. You really got nothing to say now? I'm thinking about it. Are you being serious? Are you saying that if I feed you some sacred gears you'll be able to give me stronger attacks and power? That's the only thing you held on to? Yes, you dumb shit. For a straight A student you have a hard time grasping relative concepts. The truth is that I can teach you these moves, but you need to find me more sacred gears. Just trust me. Have I ever steered you wrong? I guess you got a good point, and plus you were right, those other weapons only being so good for some things. Exactly, but this is our chance to get a really good one. But there must be another gear somewhere in the city that can do the same thing. I just don't feel like stealing Issei's gear is the best option without drawing attention. I mean, come on, if we noticed, and so did the fallen, there is no doubt the devils have noticed as well. Huh, you actually make a good point for an idiot. Hey, I resent that asshole. Whatever, yeah, I did sense another sacred gear in town, just follow my senses, and I can lead us to it. Naruto nodded his head before pulling out his phone. He left a message for his mothers that he would not be home until a little later than normal. With that, he took off in the distance to find the sacred gear with his own gear leading the way. In the shadows he never noticed Sasha was following him along with Roswas, knowing that he was up to something. They couldn't tell what it was, but it was something important since he was coming into the city to do it. Naruto arrived at a shambled-looking building and opened the doors. You sure there is a gear in here? Positive, I felt it for a while. Luckily my range is stronger than most. This is nowhere as strong as the boosted gear, but I can sense it is a decent one at least. One that is powerful enough to finally unlock the next tier for you and get me closer to full power. Alright, but do you sense anything else? I sense demonic energy and corruption. Indeed, so most likely the sacred gear belongs to the monster living in this area, meaning we don't have to hold back in stealing their gear. Hurrah. You're so childish at times. Like you're one to talk, One Punch Man lover. Hey. Fuck you. That is an awesome series, asshole. I just wish the anime would hurry up and introduce Gear already. Whatever, you humans always confuse me to begin with. We are here. Naruto saw he was standing in an open space with a corpse on the floor. Out of the shadows he saw a pale-skinned man walking out with blood on his face and bloodshot eyes with a starved-looking body. Be my next victim. She calls for more blood. He summoned a small butcher-looking sword and started swinging it around. She wants more and so do I, so make us feel alive. Naruto examined the blade before holding his hand out. The butcher's knife, a mid-tier sacred gear. They say every wielder that has ever used a sword has been made to keep the thing filled with blood. You must be tired, so let me take it off you. Naruto reached for the blade, but the man made a swing. Stay away, it's mine. It's all mine. No one will stop me. Once she is fed she will reward me. Yes, she will. Naruto sighed. This guy was mad. The sword would never be satisfied. As soon as it ate it would want more. An endless cycle, something he was going to break. Rushing at the fool, he slammed his fist into his stomach and used his free hand to break his wrist, letting the sword fall to the ground. Naruto then kneed him in the stomach before hitting him in the face, sending him away. He flew across the floor and landed next to the corpse. She needs more, always more. He stood up with a mad look in his eyes and smiled darkly, showing more of his deranged personality. He rushed at Naruto before he saw him reaching for it. No. Don't touch her, she is mine. She belongs to me. Naruto smiled. Time for your suffering to end. Naruto grabbed the handle of the sword. Ready? Yes, time to make this mine. Naruto's arm was covered in a black, red, and green aura that covered the dark sword gear, and soon it was gone. It being absorbed into the sacred gear would allow it to be purged and free from the dark curse that was put on it. No. The man attacked Naruto, throwing punches at him while trying to knock the man out for stealing his sword. You took her from me. Naruto sighed. It was the only way. Monster, freak, demon, you should have been drowned when you were born. Naruto stiffened while the man was decapitated by Sasha. She looked worried at Naruto, who had another memory. A child tied to a cross, stick surrounding the bottom of the cross. He looked on with fear and terror. Monster. Demon. Death to the killer of the fourth. You should have died with that whore. You should never have been born. A man leading the crowd approached the front and dropped the torch on the wood. This ignited the fire, and soon he was covered in flames and screaming his head off while the people cheered. Naruto came out of his dream seeing he was home, Kushina and Makoto nowhere to be seen. He wondered how he got there, so he quickly got out of bed, put on some sweatpants, and started walking down the stairs. Doesn't know. Naruto stopped and started listening to what was going on. We will find out at some point. Yeah, but when? You said he had a few flashbacks already. What happens when he finds out the truth? When it happens, that is when we will deal with it. For now let's focus our efforts in helping him every way we can. Sasha, are you okay? I mean, you were reincarnated too. True, but I think this form is cooler than my last one. Only downside is that my chest bigger than my last one. But just so you know, I haven't changed that much. At least you two look the same minus some minor alterations. Very true, and plus I think you pull the look. Thanks. Doesn't mean I won't court Naruto first. Soon a small argument broke out, but Naruto started wondering what passed. What were they talking about? Were the visions part of the reason they are concerned? What happened to him in the past? Was he seeing some kind of past that was unseen now? Naruto could only stare at his hand and think. Do you know what they are talking about? You will know soon. This freaked him out. It was a different voice. Who the hell are you? I am Truth. I'm the only true pure being. I'm the one that will show you what we were destined to do. But I don't understand, you're not making any sense. Of course, but it will make sense soon. For now, enjoy my gift, I grant you the seventh trumpet. The voice died out and soon Naruto felt something different about himself. A new surge of power, and without warning he felt his hand covered in some black aura with all the colors. What the hell? He imagined the energy gone and it disappeared. What was that thing? Naruto looked his hand over but sighed. Things were too complicated for his taste. Transylvania. Walking in the halls of a large castle was a girl with purple hair, red eyes, and long ears. She was petite and had the body of a child, but in reality she was a full-grown adult. This person was walking down the hall with a small smile on their face and with a fang popping out of her mouth. Reaching the end of the hall, she opened the doors and sighed. What a glorious scene. She walked into the room barefoot and ignoring the blood that was soaking her feet. She walked past a corpse at the table with a fork rammed into the back of their head. Cool, there is some blood left in this cup. You don't mind, do you? She poked the dead corpse before taking the blood and gulping it down. She sighed, negative, tasty. She threw the cup across the room, hitting a corpse that was pinned to the wall with two knives through their hands. At the same time, their throat was ripped open and their stomach opened, leaving their entrails hanging out of their body. Around the room there was mutilated bodies and the entire floor was covered in blood. She stepped on the corpse of a well-dressed woman and wiped her feet on her body and saw a necklace around her neck. Oh pretty, I'll take that. When she yanked the necklace, the head snapped off the body and rolled across the floor. She put the necklace around her neck before walking through more blood before kicking the corpse off the throne and smiling, I'm the queen of the castle, not bad. She saw the body of the old frail man that was on her throne and smiled, that fool, he dared to impose his will on her. She was a third progenitor vampire, someone whose powers outclass all around her. Sure, there was the second progenitor and a first progenitor, but they haven't been seen in a while or were rarely around. The only ones that could match her are her sister and that snooty little cousin of theirs. Honestly, she was close to killing that pompous fool. He was all bark and no bite, and in the vampire world that is a dangerous thing to be because it can get your subjects killed very quickly. She sighed while hearing the door open, bringing her back to the throne room. Out of it came a blonde-haired girl wearing a white dress, her red eyes shyly watching her for any offense she might bring. Valerie, come in, you like what I did with the place? I decided red would bet better than that droll white that everyone seems to favor. I think it is a good change, Lady Asura. Come on, you don't have to be so formal with me, just call me Asura. I can't do that, my lady. You have conquered and slaughtered my family, meaning I'm your servant to even think of you less as sinful and warrants execution. Asura pouted for a bit and sighed. No fun, you're like the others, so stuffy. She looked at the ceiling, but sis was right about these people, you guys really had guts taking our name and trying to claim our line. I don't understand, my lady. Simple, you guys were a servant branch to our own. So when we disappeared for a few years, your family decided to claim they were Teeps and rule the vampires. But now that we are back, we can purge those that dare to stand against us and at the same time make the world a better place. Isn't that great, Valerie? She hugged the poor girl who was a stuttering mess and turning dark red in front of her. She broke the hug and started sliding across the bloody floor and smiling and spinning. You know, this is the most fun I had in a while. There was this one time I found this small group of churchgoers and they were all running and screaming about a monster in the basement. I was getting so annoyed with them that I chopped them into little pieces before having the last one tell me what was going on. He told me about a child they were sold and that he had some kind of tremendous power. So I decided to check it out, and lo and behold, I found someone that incredible powers. Her eyes turned into stars, he had these black-like wings, a weon that was completely white and made of salt, and his eyes were even gold with black outlining them. He was talking about them being sinners and they had to be expunged from this world. It was amazing. But what happened to the boy? Oh yeah, I remembered that he killed everyone on the ground floor. Well, I helped him kill the ones that he missed or left dying on the floor. After we were done, he put his hand on the wall and turned his hand into this weird aura, blowing a hole to the surface and then flying into some direction. She pouted, I never got his name, but I know he is out there and I can't wait to see him again and see what kind of chaos he can cause. Hell, I'll join him, it beats dealing with some of the assholes in politics, no. She smiled at her and quickly head to the exit. Anyway, we best be off, my sister is waiting for us back home. Come along. Valerie quickly followed behind her new master and hoped that her sister, the ruler of the Teeps family, would not kill her when she saw her. Chapter end. So I'm going to address some things. First and foremost. This is not canon. If you are looking for something exactly like hentai or manga, then I can't promise you will see it here. My goal is to devils in a different light and make it clear that this story is not about them, this is about Naruto, and at the same time, yes, he is arrogant. Why? Because he now knows their strength and knows how they fight, so he will be ready to fight them again, but this time with the intent to kill. He resists killing moves this fight due to not wanting to deal with political backlash and minimum knowledge of the peerage sets and how many there are and their powers. If you have more complaints or wish to discuss this in length, please PM me and I will try my best to see both sides. Yes, Naruto lost to the two peerages pretty badly, but is confident he can beat them. First, he didn't know about their powers and skills, so he was fighting the unknown, he was outnumbered and he was not aiming to kill, so his repertoire was limited. But now that he knows some of their powers and skills and can kill them if they get out of line again, he won't make the same mistake. Yes, Seraph was the one that offered the trade because she is the foreign relations branch of the government. So on top of selling out the nobles and allowing someone else to move in is in her job description. Naruto does hate devils and the other biblical faction due to the arrogance they have and wants nothing to do with them after what they have done to other races. Yes, there is a femme. Sesshomaru, as some requested me to do, and she is going to be one of the main girls in the harem. Naruto's sacred gear only allows him to copy the sacred gear, but he can't learn their balance breakers or increase his overall power with the gear unless he has the soul. The aura that he is using will be explained later on in the Seraph category of powers. Yes, I made the butcher's knife, Zabuza's weapon, a sacred gear. Why? Just because I think it would be a good sacred gear to bring in this chapter, but have it more of a blood drainer and can drive someone crazy and adjust the size to the wielder. Naruto is removing the curse that was placed on it and so he will not have the same problem. Naruto's balance breaker can only be reached by having more sacred gears absorbed into his, and the stronger the spirit and the gear, the more power he gets. Different tiers are needed to have certain hollow and shinigami powers, low tier. Sword, some binding spells and basic attack spells, Kido and that stuff, medium tier. Zero, etc. Yes, his memories of his childhood and past that I kind of glanced over in the last chapter are going to come back into the story. But it is only going to be small tidbits that trigger a memory through someone's reaction of him or something he did. Inu Taisho are considered rare compared to Kyuubi, since there are 3 in the world and only one of her. If you haven't guessed, Sasha, as she is called, is a reincarnation confirmation of who she is, and I can promise you that you can pick 3 girls that you want to see reincarnated in this world in different forms if you want her races. Note. It's pretty obvious. Also, yes, Sasha is not the same person she was in her own world, but I figured I would have some fun and change her around a bit. Note. No one in Konoha that was part of his torture is going to be coming back in this story, so don't bother asking for them. Yes, I know I'm going to hear this, but Asurumaru is a male in the anime and manga, but I'm making him a her because they are too feminine for my taste. Also, yes, she and her sister might be part of the harem down the line. Naruto has a small history with her that will be revived in the near future, so pay close attention to it. Finally, here is the harem as it stands. Confirmed. Sasha, Femme. Sesshomaru, Kushina, Mikoto, Roswis. Maybe. Asurumaru, Krull Teeps, Mina Teeps, Nibi, Kuroka, Kurama, Yasaka or Kunu. This might not be the harem I posted before, but I'm having changes of hearts. The final harem will be revealed once the story gets further along. Final message for those clamoring for it. Return of the Dark Knight, a new chapter is coming in the next 2 weeks, so be prepared. I will tell you it is going to be a lot of story setup, so be ready, and I have cut some people out of the harem to make it more manageable and realistic for this case. Okay, thanks for the support. Chapter 3. Saving the Op-Eye Dragon and New Powers. Naruto was having a hectic day ever since he was told by his gear that he had a new set of moves he wanted to train them. But he told him doing them in public without a seriously powerful barrier would be a problem. So he had to ask his mothers and Sasha to help him set up the barrier that he was talking about so he can practice. The damn thing was huge compared to normal boundaries, it covered at least 50 miles on its own. From there he started his training with the women that surrounded him. Each helping him set up targets or improving on his physical skills at this point. He knew that when he talked down to the devils after losing he was a sore loser. Not wanting to show a weakness of the fact they crushed him a fight, but also the fact he was left at their mercy and the mercy of whatever his power was. His gear mentioned that took control for a small bit to copy and absorb a little of that boy's power, and the problem is that he might have leaked his own personality into him at that moment. Case in point, the arrogant stance, the aggression he was showing, and the fact that he seemed to believe he was superior to them. The gear itself never liked being looked down at and thus left him with a bitter taste in his mouth whenever someone did. So starting today he was dodging holy spears being flung plenty by Makoto, Kushina throwing chakra-based fireballs and water dragons at him, and Sasha chasing him down with her speed and power. His goal for this exercise was to either block the strikes or dodge for 10 minutes. After that, he was to attack them, and this would lead to him aiming for them. Due to them all having a powerful healing ability and the barrier being designed to fix all the damages done to them physically other than death, made this a safe environment to fight in. It was only thanks to Sasha having access to her family's vault of powerful spells and barriers they were able to do this. But back to the practice, Naruto had his black sword and thus was fighting on the defense. He knew the penalty for getting hit was a lot more drastic than if the girls got hit. For him, he would have to owe them a favor they could cash in whenever they wanted shortly, as long as it didn't cross any personal boundaries. Naruto blocked Sasha's sword slash before jumping away from her and avoiding a holy spear nearly impaling through his chest. Looking up he smiled. Best you got. Naruto's eyes started to glow slightly turning gold with them also having some black outline. His posture was becoming more relaxed and he was also beginning to hold his sword tighter ready for someone to strike him. Not even close Naruto-kun look behind you. He quickly leaped into the air and saw that she was pointing to nothing. Shit. They tricked me. Naruto looked at her and when she summoned a dark purple holy spear and flung it at him. Naruto held his hand out, it then was covered in a green aura before he fired a quick burst of energy. The small ball of light traveled faster than the eye could keep up and shattered the spear before heading to Makoto. She flew out of range of the attack before dashing at him. She summoned another spear and brought it down on his sword, accelerating his fall to the ground. Naruto put some of the energy that he learned was called spirit energy into his feet and when hitting the ground only saw the ground crack. Looking up he saw Makoto in front of him again and she swung her spear sideways aiming for his chest. Naruto brought his sword up and blocked the attack before putting his hand and sending her flying backward with pure spirit energy. I know this has some kind of specific name in the anime and manga, but it really is just spirit energy. Don't forget us Naruto-kun. His eyes widened but blocked with his sword behind his head and stopped Sasha from slashing him. My enemies are not going to give me a warning, don't do the same. Fair enough. Sasha stepped back before Naruto had to dash away from another attack this time from Kushina who had her chakra running again and this time was surrounded by a massive water dragon. It was releasing vast torrents of water from its jaw firing it as if it was a dragon and its flamethrower. He quickly leaped, sprinted faster or moved around the attacks. He knew that at this rate he might make the time limit but Naruto really was only defense at this time so he was not sure how this would go in an actual combat situation. Jumping in the air again he put one of his fingers out and aimed it at the group below him. He summoned a dark green orb and said. Zero. The attack erupted from his fingertip before making a dash at the people below him. When the attack hit, it exploded covering the entire clearing in dust and leaving a crater behind. Naruto closed his eyes and concentrated in sensing the group out, he knew they dodged, they were too good for something like that to work. You weren't supposed to attack Naruto-kun. Naruto's eyes shot open and turned to see Sasha standing there with a frown on her face. Not cool. Naruto smiled. Yeah well, I got excited and decided to go for something. Plus no one is always fighting defensive or offense. I just thought I'd throw my own spin in this training session. I see then, before he could react, she slammed her fist into his stomach sending him to the ground. Keep in mind I don't always have to use my sword to fight my opponent. She landed on the ground and huffed, please follow the rules from now on. Naruto got out of the crater and thought. Damn, you got the first blow on me. True, but that won't be the last. The two stared each other down, but then there was a ding. Makoto flew up to them and sighed. This round is over. Why don't we take a small break for a while? Okay. Cool with me. Sure. Naruto sat on the ground while catching his breath back and letting his spirit disappear back into his mind. His body started growing lighter and his eyes were back to being blue. So, Naruto-kun, I've meant to ask about that change. What about it, Sasha-chan? Well, is that the spirit taking control of your body or something? No, not really, more in the sense I'm actually using a minimal amount of his power. Well, I think I can use more that would leave me blinded by the power, and soon I will lose control, and he will have free reign until he comes off his high. I see, so then the day at the school. Yep, that was the first time it came out, but it is only becoming more evident thanks to me feeding it another sacred gear. Kushina's ears perked up. What gear was it? Naruto held his hand out while taking a seat on the ground. In his hand came the decapitator's butcher knife, but only about the size of a regular sword in this case. Kubikirabacho, the sword of the demon. Naruto looked at her odd. How did you know the name of the sword? I had to ask Sasha on a book of known sacred gear swords. I just knew the wielder before the blade fell into someone else's unworthy hands. I see, who was it? Kushina frowned, wondering if this would affect his memories and how badly it will. Plus she knew her son was going to spy on some fallen angel stalking this human, so she didn't want him distracted. Sorry, Naruto, his name escapes me at the moment. When I remember I will tell you, okay? Naruto sighed. Got my hopes and then dashed them. Not very nice of your mother. Please call me Kushina-chan. Naruto shook his head, leaving her in tears, whining about not getting known by her name. Mikoto got called Mikoto-chan, and Sasha gets Sasha-chan, and Roswis gets Roswis-chan, but no, she just mother. It was frustrating for her since she wants a relationship with him, but he seems adamant on keeping her his mother. She would break that no matter what. There was a fire in her eyes, causing the group to sweat drop due to her own inner dialogue, causing her to run a range of emotions. One being depression, then frustration, and then finally feeling the fires of passion. Whatever the hell was going on with her, it was definitely confusing. Naruto sighed, his mothers were weird like that, 1 minute happy then sad. The only reason he stopped with Mikoto was that of the incident a couple of years ago, they deemed to the whip incident. He shuddered. Do not speak of the whip. You have to admit she was pretty hot when she. Shut the fuck up. Ahahaha. It was the best day of my life. So I have the right to enjoy it. Now if she just took. Don't you finish that sentence if you don't want me to force you to watch the Batman Robin movie. You wouldn't. That credit card. Whose fucking idea was that? I ever meet the asshole who thought that would be funny? Naruto turned off the connection between him and his sacred gear before turning back to see Mikoto and Kushina brawling a bit while Sasha sighed. He sweat dropped. Yeah, it was going to be one of those mornings. The evening. Naruto was following far behind Issei and his date for the evening. From what he gathered, the person he was dating was definitely a fallen angel, but he was not sure for who. He heard there was some splinter cells in the group and those that wanted to break away from Azazel. But then again, if he and his gear were able to sense his sacred gear, that maybe meant Azazel did as well. If that was the case, then he could possibly have wanted to find this gear, what it was, and bring it back to his faction. If that was the case, then that was fine. The man never wanted another war and didn't want any more friction between him and the rest of the races. Plus there was the rumor that Amaterasu apparently caught him peeking on her and beat him so bad they say just saying her name causes him to freak out. That, and she allegedly kicked him so hard that he was rumored to have lost one of his balls in the process and only got them back thanks to magic. From what he could see, the date was going well for him. In a sense, he was the perfect gentleman. Naruto knew that he had the skill to be one, but this is still shocking to see it firsthand. From there they went to dinner, some stores, and just, in general, goofing around through the town. He smiled sadly. He wished Issei would be happy even though he was a pervert. He was a kind soul at points and at times was one of the few people that while he was too honest with his intentions, he should still tone down on it. They were arriving at the water fountain where Issei was smiling after hearing her ask if she could have something from him. Apparently, he thought it was something perverted, but it turned out to be something else. Would you die for me? I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. I said, would you die for me? Out of nowhere, she transformed into some kind of bondage outfit that made Naruto wonder if that was a common theme in the fallen angels. Mikoto, he knew, had an outfit similar to that, but he was not sure if it just a fetish or something that was uniform in the group. At the same time, he watched a poor boy get skewered by the fallen angel and sighed. Well, he wanted to interfere, he needed to confirm something. If it proved true, then he would help break him away from this group, if not then he would call Amaterasu to help him revive him, since that is within her domain. Not even a minute later Naruto saw a red summoning circle. Out of it came Ria's Gremory, making him narrow his eyes. He was right, the fucking devils knew that she was targeting the poor boy, but instead of bringing him into the fold to protect him, they let him get skewered. Just so she could revive him without an argument. Naruto growled slightly and felt his spirit growling along with him, with something screaming at him to be released. Release me. I will show this nasty, sinful creature the wrath of the one that ends all. Be silent. You have no say in this situation. But still, I agree we should deal with this filthy devil for playing God with the humans of this world. Well, the boy is a little lusty for my taste, he didn't deserve this. Agreed. Naruto stepped out of the tree line. So Rias want to explain the situation to me? Rias turned to Naruto while internally growling. Ever since that damn boy had interfered in her affairs and caused her to lose face with her brother, things have been going badly for her. Apparently, her mother found out about what is going on and came to scold her for her lack of action and how she was damaging the image of the Gremory family. Her father protected her for the most part, but that just leads to them fighting more and more until finally, they both left in huffs with each other. It had become something of a common theme between them, and her brother made mention to not be surprised if they divorce soon due to the heat. Apparently starting back when she was engaged to the Phoenix family, she was opposed to it while her father was for it. But he would not listen to her and just had his other women pleasing him while leaving her to her lonesome. While she loved her mother, she was more of her father's daughter and always sided with him in arguments, except for the fact she was engaged thanks to him. But back to the problem at hand, Rias knew she was in trouble, she knew about the fallen angels in the city. She knew their goal at this point and thought it best to let it run its course. That way she would swoop in and save Issei, making herself into his hero and becoming someone that would lay down his life for her. Sure, she would treat him like family, but in the end, he was a means to an end, and if he proved more trouble down the line than he is worth, then she will get rid of him. Not kill him, mind you, but trade him out for some other pieces or have her cousin give him some of his pieces to help her find more recruits for the future. No, I don't feel like it. Naruto narrowed his eyes, causing them to flash gold for a second. Really? I find it odd that you just happened to show up from a summoning slip that he just got today. On top of that, he died while a fallen angel was on a date with him. A fallen by my knowledge has been here for a while and you should have either removed or eliminated at this point. So if that is the case, it looks like you are here to make yourself a hero while forcing him into your group without resistance. Rias was sweating slightly, he knew. He was playing it out like he was working everything out, but the asshole knew her plans. Without warning, she rushed him while changing her eyes. You will forget what you saw here. You will return home with no knowledge of this and tell the yokai running the territory that it would be better than the devils are better at maintaining control of Kuo. Naruto deadpanned and punched her in the face. Really? I know about magic and you fought me yourself, why did you think that would work? Rias growled and aimed a punch at his head, but he blocked the strike before pulling her forward. With this momentum, she felt his free hand slammed into her stomach, taking her off her feet and knocking the wind out of her. You suck at hand-to-hand combat, you know that, right? So what? I'll kill you with this then. She gathered her magic up and aimed it at Naruto. But he summoned his sword and with a single slice, cut her pot in half. He then thought. Time to try this new power out. He gathered the black magic with all the colors flowing in it into his hand. He concentrated on it being condensed around his fist and with one mighty punch, sent a straight beam of energy past her head. From there the attack tore through the trees and left a small straight fissure line in the ground. From this point, his power erased the trees entirely, even after the attack only took off a small part. You could see the life fading away from the tree after it fell to the ground and soon turned into nothing. From what he was able to gather with this attack, it erased someone down to the atomic level and left nothing behind to defer from them. Unless you cut off the limb that is hit, the offense will spread throughout your body slowly and make you feel yourself dying slowly. Naruto saw the fear in Ria's eyes and he said. Oh. Leave this area and I won't report this. She frowned. I need the boy. Otherwise his sacred gear is going to disappear. Naruto sighed. Tough lever, I won't miss. He gathered some more magic into his hand and Rias growled. She realized that she had no choice in this and summoned a summoning circle. From there, she teleported back to the clubhouse to inform the group of her failure and plot a way to discredit Naruto. She wanted everything to go back to the way they were before, with her on top and him being nobody that seemed to just float into the world and out of it. Hey, she was a devil, she was selfish and wanted things to be her way. Naruto pulled out his phone and found the title of Sun and called it. Naruto, what is it? I'm prepping to meet Yusaka soon. I know, but I need to see you now. Apparently, we have a boy in Kuo from my school that was just killed. He met the fallen flying around and needs help. Okay, I will be there in a second, but no, I want these fools dealt with soon. Is that clear? Yes, ma'am. Naruto hung his phone up and once he did, Amaterasu appeared out of thin air and saw the boy on the ground. I see, sacred gear user. Yes. She sighed. I pity these humans, they are put through the worst and yet no one tells them more than what is required at times. Indeed, so can you revive him for me? She smiled slightly. Yes, no child deserves to have his life snuffed out like this. But do remember, this is the only time I can do this for him. One time, that is all he gets, any more times and then he is dead for good. Understood, my lady. She stepped next to the corpse and with a small ball of fire in her hand, she threw it into his open hole. His body was covered in the F and soon he was fully healed and the blood was gone. There, the boy should be fine. Take him home, will you? Will do, my lady. Amaterasu saw him pick the boy up and said, listen, I need a favor from you. What is it? Well, it is more a request from another pantheon and they are demanding outside help. But I will meet you at your house to explain after you are done. Okay, see you there. Naruto gathered some spirit energy around his body and flew into the sky and left the goddess to her own thoughts. Upon arriving at the house, Naruto knocked on the door, explaining he found Issei knocked out at the park. Naturally, his parents were worried about him, but he managed to assure them he ran his assailant off and he was safe. He might not wake up for the rest of the night, so it would be better than he just stays in bed. So both of them took him inside while thanking Naruto for being there to help their son. Naruto waited until he was sure he was inside safely and placed a barrier around the house to alert him if something is wrong, and it was tied to his own home. That way if he was out of town then they could take care of the problem for him and trade. He flew back to his house and managed to make it inside to see all of the women in his life at this point sitting there. Kushina and Makoto had stern looks on their face, Sasha looked neutral, and Roswas looked slightly uncomfortable with the atmosphere of the room. The goddess saw him enter. But the boy is home safely. Yes. Right, now we can talk about this request that came to me. Naruto took the last seat between his two mothers, while directly across from the goddess. So who is the request from? It comes from Olympus. The group was shocked to hear this. The goddess giggled, I was surprised too, this is the first time I received anything from them, and when I asked Odin he told me they did not receive one. I see, but Lady Amaterasu, what is about? She pulled out the parchment from a pocket dimension. From what I can gather, it comes directly from Athena and Hera. They wrote that they are doing this because the council has agreed against Zeus in seeking some kind of outside help to assist them. But what it is, I have no idea, but it says they urgently need help from me and want me to send someone to help them. Fine then, but I don't understand how this has to be me. I mean, don't you have tons of other people you could send in my stead? I do, but one. Most of top warriors are women and those gods have a bad tendency of getting too touchy and rapey for my taste. 2. You are the only one available at this moment, and 3. You need to get out of Kuo and Japan as a whole for a while. I deal with the current devil situation. I see, what is the reward? She looked through it and put her finger near the bottom of the parchment. It says that we can have 2 free deals on the honor of the gods, and if they are broken, then those gods will be banished for breaking the promise. Okay, when do I leave? She smiled and snapped her fingers, and a dark horse with wings appeared. Really, did you have to have him appear in my living kitchen? The goddess was sheepish and sighed. He took the horse out of the house and mounted the animal. Hopefully I will be back soon, so please all of you inform Issei about his change of situation and make sure the devils do not bring him into the fold before you can reach him. If they do. Naruto sighed. Then get him to listen to you for more than 5 minutes and make sure to keep his attention. From there, just tell him everything he needs to know about this world and his new life. Naruto and the horse flew into the sky, leaving the women unaware of what was going on in the Haidu house. Inside of the house was Rias with her friend Sona, who managed to bypass the seal that was placed around the house. She had put 4 pawn pieces into him due to him being alive and costing less, even with a powerful sacred gear. Rias felt triumphant in having added Issei to her peerage and getting one over the human. But Sona was not happy about the situation and knew the consequences of their actions. She was no fool, she acted rash and trying to demand answers from Naruto and who he worked for. More in a sense, her pride got in the way, and without knowing it, she was consumed with rage at his denial of answering. After her sister tore into her and her parents coming to do the same thing, she realized she failed to uphold her family name and honor. More in a sense, she is not portraying herself as someone that thought all of her actions first and weighed them against each other before making a rash decision. She was ashamed, and now it was only getting worse due to her friend asking her to help her with this. Once she noticed the seal and bypassed it, but now knew the minute Issei showed up on campus, a devil and the leader of the yokai found out, and she knew she would be told by Naruto what is going on. There was going to be hell to pay. She hoped this wouldn't reflect poorly on her in the future. There, that is that. You know, Rias, this is going to end badly for us. You worry too much, Sona. And you don't worry enough, Rias. She scoffed. Relax, in a few days I will show that boy and his friends what a Gremory clan can do, and with Issei by my side, I will be free. What are you planning for him then? Don't know, once the thing with Riser if over, if it proves more trouble than it is worth, then I will trade him away. She shrugged her shoulders, not knowing the frown on Sona's face. That sounds like something Riser would do. Don't ever compare me to him. I'm better than him because I want to have people help me with my problems. Then you will cast them away if they prove too much for you to handle. Is that how you are going to handle Gasper then? She growled. I don't have to explain myself to you, Sona. Riaz teleported away, leaving Sona sighing and teleporting away as well. Tomorrow is going to be hell for her, she could just feel it. Underworld. Then Alana sighed, once again her husband did not join her in bed. Honestly, it seemed to be the better option with all the fighting that has been going on lately. She also didn't want him to see the paperwork he was working on at this point. More in a sense, the papers were her divorce papers to her husband, so he can be with his merry band of whores that he liked to parade around. For her, she never really liked many of them and found most of them more annoying than others in this situation. But this, she would be free from her husband and allowed to pursue her own goals and maybe find true love in her own right. For her, she married her husband as an arranged marriage and they did love each other for a while, but it seemed to fall out of place after a while. She knew that Lord Bale would not approve of what she was doing, but it was her life and Vanillana would do as she damn well pleases with her freedom and rights. Plus, she was growing more disappointed with Riaz as a whole. She loved her daughter still, but it seemed the more she watched her, the more like her father she became. Riaz was nothing like her brother, she was selfish, conniving, and at times cruel when she slipped. Unlike her brother, she was not the person that ruled with both love and compassion, while only manipulating a situation where all parties profit, but instead just looking for what benefited her in the end. She knew her daughter wanted out of the marriage contract and that was the reason she was still fighting for her, but she was not sure anymore. Should she help fight for a daughter that just recently attacked and almost killed someone just because he didn't want to tell her his secrets? Someone that tried to piss off the Shinto faction and even left humans and others to die at the hands of strays and other holy people that claim their divine right in this world. No, she shouldn't fight for her due to this, but at the same time, it is her daughter, so she had the mother's hope that she would be better in time. Sadly, that just doesn't seem to be the case and she wondered where she went wrong as a mother. Taking off her dress and lying in her bed, she dreamed of a life with her, a man that loved him without conditions, and maybe a couple more children at her side with him. It was a dream she had since she was very young, but there was no telling when this was going to happen or if it would happen, but she held on to it as the only thing in this world that has some semblance of hope for her. Transylvania. Sitting in a golden throne room was a pink-haired girl with a black gothic lolicon dress and some black boot. Her eyes were red with slits and she had a small black bat-like creature on her shoulder. She was sitting on her throne in pure boredom and looking down at the girl before her. The girl that her sister brought her and claimed she was better to them alive than dead and someone that could possibly be of great value due to her knowledge of another like herself that has a powerful weapon at his disposal. Standing next to the pink-haired girl was a blonde-haired girl with red eyes with slits and wearing a white dress that looked very loose-fit. She had her hair in twin pigtails and has a rapier at her side to show her weapon of choice in combat. These two along with Asura who was standing on the other side of the throne with a smile on her face were Krull and Mina Teeps, the rightful rulers of vampires and considered the strongest of their kind. Krull was the oldest of the three of them, with Mina being the second oldest. Both were direct descendants of the great vampire Vlad Teeps and considered the strongest next to the first and second progenitors. Krull was looking at the girl with boredom in her eyes while looking slightly at her youngest sibling. "Are you sure she has that particular sacred gear?" "Yes, I know for a fact she has it considering they put her in some kind of power to manipulate her to do their bidding. From what I gathered they've been doing this to her for years, while another boy similar to her has an incredible power of his own." "Is this true, child?" The girl sputtered but answered. "Yes, Queen Teeps, I know my friend Gasper has the forbidden Baylor View sacred gear and is said to have the power to freeze time or even one person in a specific moment in time." "I see, and you have no idea where your fellow Daywalker has disappeared to then?" "Yes, he disappeared, but last I heard from some of the others it is believed he is in possession of the devil race," Mina growled at this moment and Krull sighed. "Figures those bastards steal from all other races and claim we are out of line when we do the same thing. It is annoying how hypocritical it is of them for their own system stealing from us. More in a sense, wouldn't it make sense to share the knowledge of creating more of your race with others?" "I understand, sister, but back to the question, what is sacred gear you possess, Valerie?" She frowned and faced the ground. Sephiroth growl. Krull was shocked by her answer and so was Mina, while Asura smiled at them. "Didn't I tell you she was special?" "You did, sister. Now then, knowing this we need to keep you safe. If you swear to listen to us and follow the orders of the true Teeps family, then I shall not only assure your safety, the freedom to use your gear unless absolutely needed, but I will bring your friend to you." "You can bring me, Gasper." "Yes, it is within my power, and when I do, then you two will never have to leave each other's side again." "I will, my loyalty has always been to the Teeps family and I would be honored to be of service to you. No matter how weak I am as a damper vampire." "Good, Mina, get her some proper clothes and set up some training for her. If she is going to be assisting us, we need to make sure she can hold her own in a fight when necessary." "Alright, sister, I shall return soon." Mina was gone in a blur, leaving Valerie wondering how she was able to move so quickly without so much as making a sound. Queen Teeps, may I ask something? Sure, ask away. Well, how is that you three are able to walk through the sun without getting burned? She smiled. That is because unlike most vampires that are nothing more than parasites, we are the pinnacle of evolution. Not only do we retain more power and magic than those that consider themselves true vampires, but we also have immunity to the sun and resistance to magical and holy weapons. She flared her aura, and soon Valerie saw darkness and death all around her. Krull was covered in a pink aura with her eyes glowing menace and scaring her so bad that she was not sure if she could hold out much longer. Imagine this kind of power, do you wish for this kind of strength? I do, but I can't achieve it due to my birth. That is not a problem for us. Krull cut her own wrist and let herself bleed all over the floor before having a cup appear in her hand. She walked up to her while filling it with her blood. In a time after the cup was full, she saw her wrist healing up instantly. Drink this. But if I drink your blood, that would mark me as a traitor of the race. No, it won't come with this, your human blood will be purged and you shall finally become a true vampire, but not just any vampire. You'll belong to me, making you a powerful servant that will have everything that she can ever desire. The only thing that is required is your loyalty. Isn't that a great deal for you? Valerie thought about it. While she didn't hate her human parent, she wished for the power to make sure those she loved never got hurt again. Thinking of how weak she was to Gasper and all the suffering his memory probably had on him for all these years weighed on him. But in front of her, she has a chance to not only have the power to save her friend, but bring him back to her side, and maybe they could be able to play together like when they were kids. Taking the cup, she quickly gulped down the blood, but after finishing, she dropped the cup and screamed in pain. It felt like fire was being poured into her veins, and she was just felt her body being torn apart again and again, every time in an endless cycle. She could not stop the feeling, it was only getting worse for her, and she wanted it to end soon. But in time the room saw her power explode, releasing a powerful white and blue aura that seemed to flow off her in waves. Krull smirked, and Asura smiled while Mina, who had returned, was neutral. When the show ended, they saw Valerie sit up on her knees while seeing the difference. She was slightly paler than before, her eyes had become slits, and it seemed her magic had increased tenfold. Welcome to the family, Valerie. The girl smiled, and in the dark, you could only see 4 pairs of glowing red eyes, while Valerie whispered. Hang on, Gasper, I'm coming for you soon. Chapter end. Not much to say here, just. Future arc and 2 current arcs are going to be the center of the next future chapters, while also showing more of Ria's getting desperate to escape her fate, while Sona fears the repercussion. Honestly, I wrote everything in the Dark Knight story, so you want more, go there. Harem. Kushina, Mikoto, Asurumaru, Sasha, Fem. Sessamaru hint. From Kumo. Those are the only ones right now I know are going to be the harem, but here is a small list of maybes. Then Lana, Athena, Artemis, I have a way around her idea of men or evil problem, Hera, Aphrodite, Krull, Mina, Fem. Kurama, Nibi, Yasaka, Kunu. I know I probably said no devils are going to be in this, but I'm willing to make an exception if she proves to be an interesting concept for people to get behind. Have a good winter break, everyone, and know I have more free time with a big paper finally done, and so I only have to study for finals, so more free time for me. Yeah, for you guys, more chapters are coming your way. Also, beta is still open for anyone that wants it, or if someone can point me in the direction of people that are willing to review my work, please do. Chapter 4. Problems and a bad dog. So let me get this straight, Sona, you are telling me my sister, the same one that nearly killed Naruto a while back, just went behind his back. Not only that, she recruited a human boy that had a sacred gear and he saved. From there reincarnated him while bypassing the seal around the house to not alert anyone in the house that he was living in that it happened. Is that about right? Seraph was frowning while looking at Sona, who had summoned her and Seraph, and hoped to explain the current situation. If this was true, then her sister just put them in a dangerous place due to the fact that now she was now going to need to do something to fix the issue at hand. Yes, Lord Lucifer and Lady Leviathan. I was pretty much forced to help her, and afterwards she spoke ill of her new peerage member. I see, Seraph rubbed his hand through his hair. Sister, I want you to tell Riaz that she has crossed a line, and that if she continues to test us, there will be nothing to stop me from removing her from the city. I will, sister, but what about Issei? Seraph sighed. I will tell the leading yokai what has happened in this current situation. Hopefully we can keep this internal and avoid further problems from an already furious goddess. Seraph knew, for all of his boasting and the power he possessed, that anyone that challenged a god was good as dead due to the immense power they have, and plus there was rules you don't cross. Especially since trying to kill a god, especially a Shinto one, is considered the ultimate form of treason, since they were connected to the primordial beings. Meaning they die, then they come for you and your faction and wipe you off the face of existence while reviving the god or goddess. Very well, Lord Lucifer, please inform them that I'm deeply sorry for my part in this mess and I never meant to cross them. I was unaware until we started that she was trying to stick it to Naruto, as she put it. Okay, you may go, Sona. She left the office to attend classes while he was sitting in the school president's seat, sighing for everything going on at this point. More in the sense, how the hell was he going to smooth this over with the other faction? Seraph already was handing the nobles over to the Shinto faction, and last he heard only 2 had not been executed at this point and forced to pay huge sums. From what he was able to gather, it was mostly those that were ancient nobles or those that were heirs at the time that thought they would never be touched. But jokes on them, apparently now they were being sold to the yokai for what they did. Now his sister has just put more on his plate and he was not sure how he was going to convince her not to tell her goddess the sin they committed against them. It was almost impossible since they almost had nothing of real value for their faction. More in the sense, how the hell were they going to compensate for this mess, and if the goddess did find out, then what was going to happen? Would they be executed, more his sister in this case? While Surzich and Seraphol tried to figure out how to get out of this situation, Issei was just coming onto campus and seemed to be confused. After telling his friends about his girlfriend, it turned out they didn't remember her. Hell, his phone was empty and he felt like something odd was going on today. But when he arrived in his main room, he was called the new headmistress's office and was worried about what was going to happen. Walking to the door, he knocked and heard, "Come in." It was muffled by the door and he walked into the room and had to suppress a perverted look on his face. She had massive breasts and was a knockout in her own right. His mind went 100 miles a minute, but something inside of him was, keep your thoughts to yourself or you could be in real trouble. "Welcome, Issei Haidu, it is a weird pleasure in meeting you." She stared at him and watched to see where his eyes were. Apparently he was keeping them on her face and that was keeping him from smacking him around. "I called you to my office to talk to you about yesterday." "What do you mean? Do you remember dying yesterday?" Issei freaked out. "Wait, you meant that was not a dream?" Sasha sighed. "Yes, and it would seem someone has gotten to you after you were revived and brought you back as a devil." "Do you mean a demon?" "No, demons are those that can come from any of the factions, where a devil is something related to the Satan faction that has tremendous power. For example, you know the Bible, correct?" "Yeah, but I was not a big church person, sorry." She smiled slightly. "That is fine, the most you need to understand is that the devils exist and so do other supernatural creatures. For example, Ima Inu Taisho." She released her tail, showing him her dog-like feature. This caused him to freak out slightly, but after putting it away and casting a calming spell, she continued. "Issei, I need you to recall everything you remember." "Well, it is a little fuzzy, but okay. I remember having a date with Yuma, then she turned into some kind of woman wearing some kinky stuff. I got to see her bare breasts." He gained a perverted look on his face, but seeing her serious look, he wiped it off. "Yeah, after that she stabbed me with some kind of pink spear and I remember lying in a pool of my own blood, wishing I could see that girl with red hair again. Then I remember feeling lighter and waking up in my bed while having heard voices during my sleep talk about me or to me." "I see, well then I guess I can fill in the gaps for you. First you were revived by the goddess of the Shinto faction Amaterasu and you then were brought home by a friend of mine. Not too long after that I can guess the devil circumvented the seal on your house to alert us if they come for you and thus forced you to become a devil." "Wait, so I'm stuck like this?" He started freaking out, but she put a hand on his shoulder. "Don't worry, we are looking into methods of reversing the process of the peerage set, that is the method they used to revive you as a chess piece of their own and making you closer to what you want to be. Unfortunately, it is better you are fully aware of everything going on around you. More in the sense, now you know about the supernatural factions and can learn more about why you were targeted." "Okay, so yeah, can you tell me why? I mean, did I do something to offend her or something?" "No, you possess what we call a sacred gear, a powerful artifact of great power and strength, and many consider them tools of destruction and those that can lead the next generation. The big thing is though, from what I've been able to gather, your gear seems to have wiped out anything to do with magic, so you won't be able to use it unless it is really basic." "I see, so basically I can use this powerful tool at my beck and call." He was imagining him doing heroic things and getting many girls to follow him, making him giggle like a giddy pervert. But Sasha poked his thought bubble before smacking him on the head. "Umbus, you have to realize the situation you are currently in." "What you mean?" She sighed. "Right now you are a devil's servant, meaning a slave in all but name. They say servant, but the truth is you're someone's chess piece they can throw away at any time." "Oh," he deflated at this, but she pat him on the head. "But the good news is that you are on my turf, meaning I can protect you. Plus the devils and I have some problems and knowing them they are trying to think of a way to either appease me or to keep this from me. Don't worry about that. But back to the point, the fact you have a sacred gear in you makes you a target to anyone around you." Since the fallen no doubt know you are alive again, they are going to come and try to kill you again, along with having someone monitoring you from the devil faction. You're in great danger either way. But then what do I do? Simple, I have a place for you to stay at while this whole mess is dealt with. But I have one small request if you will hear me out. Sure. It's simple, I want you to train and find out what your gear is, while also avoiding the devils until I say otherwise. I don't want more trouble than already is going on at this point, is that clear? I mean I owe you, instead of leaving me in the dark and letting me get caught up in a stupid way you were straight with me. And the person that saved my life, can I know who they were so I can thank them? She smiled, what do you know, the pervert had a good heart after all. Naruto, he saved your life. He smiled, he knew the guy, nice when you get to know him, but he usually didn't spread himself into social circles. Now then we are going to talk about some changes in routine, along with moving you into this new home away from prying eyes. She smiled, giving him a shiver down the spine. He knew this was going to be a fun but dangerous experience. Olympus. The Pegasus finally landed in Olympus after flying him to the heavens. From what he was able to gather, the horse was directed to bring him straight there, but from who he was not sure. It could have been almost anyone at this point who wanted him in this domain. He was hesitant to fly up there, but he trusted the horse would not try to send him straight to hell at this point. Arriving on the mountain, he saw a beautiful woman was awaiting him upon arrival. She had long brown hair, dark amber eyes, an amazing body that would make even the greatest perverts bow before her to be treated like a slave by her. More in the sense, she had at least teacup breasts that seemed to defy gravity and almost seemed to just buoyant. From what he could see, she was amazing in figure and stature, while also having a slight tan complexion. She was curvy in all the right places that if he compared to her most of the women he had seen in his time, she was the most beautiful. Biggles brought him out of his trance and back to reality, realizing what he just did, so he bowed. Forgive me for acting unbecoming in my position, Hera. Naruto was shocked. Really, your Hera? I would have thought you Aphrodite for how beautiful you are. She smiled and laughed at the comment. Thank you, young man. Well, I'm not happy you thought I was that slut, but still nice to be appreciated. Now if only my husband was like that. If I can speak freely. She nodded her head. I don't know why he goes after human women. I mean, yeah, they are pretty, but you're the perfection of beauty and family. I know if I married you I would be beating all other men that even looked your way to death for thinking they were worthy of being in your presence. More so myself, since I feel I was unworthy of your love and unconditional support. Hera was surprised about how he felt and felt her heartbeat race a little bit. With a small blush on her face she said. Why can't Zeus be more like you? Sorry for speaking out of line. She waved him off. No, it is fine, I'm happy to feel the unconditional affection of someone after so long. Makes me wonder some things. I understand, but again it was unbecoming even with permission. Like I said, it was fine. Now then, she turned serious, you are here about the job we sent to Amaterasu? Yes, what seems to be the problem? She sighed. Well, I'm sure you know the mythology of Cerberus, right? Yeah, the great three-headed dog that guards the underworld and ferries them away to different places, right? Correct, that is gist of it, but there seems to be a problem. Lately the great dog seemed to have gone rogue and we don't know why. We suspect someone is controlling him, but how we are still not sure ourselves or who is doing it. We've suspected it is a hero from our lineage, but we are still not 100% sure about that. I see, so you want me to find the big dog and find out what is going on with him then? Yes, normally we deal with this ourselves, but like I said, we suspect someone from the hero faction, or someone more specifically from our own lines, is responsible for this mess. So to avoid the potential situation that Zeus would let one of his children with a slap on the wrist, we want you to go investigate and bring the dog back. Also report who was responsible for this and if possible bring them to us. Alright, where was the mighty three-headed dog sighted last? She smiled. I believe it was sighted not too far from here. He had wiped out a small town that worshipped Athena and small hunting village that was worshippers of Artemis. Damn, whoever is doing this is really trying to piss off everyone, huh? Yes, do this, and I can promise you anything desire along with a weapon of one of the gods here on Olympus for your troubles. I don't need that much of a reward, more we are looking to maybe speak about possible treaty between the factions. Are you sure? I mean, most would take full advantage of this situation if they were in your position. True, but I'm not most people in this case. I see, very well, it shall be done. Naruto nodded his head and with a single hand was teleported to Greece, leaving Hera sighing, what a man. Indeed, Hera. Turning around she saw a woman with red hair stepping out of the shadow carrying a spear in hand and with a figure that could rival her own. Only she was a D-cup while also having slightly larger ass than herself with green eyes. Next to her was a woman carrying a bow and arrow quiver along with having silver eyes and having a more childlike form currently. So what do you two think? Athena hummed slightly while putting her spear to her side. Personally, I believe there is a chance that this boy might be the one. The one that can change the world. The child snorted. I can sense it, he has something dwelling beneath the surface and it is just starting to come out. Interesting, well I personally think he might be the one that the fates mentioned as the angel of end. Very true Hera, Athena sighed and turned to Artemis, are you going to stay in your child form while here? No, but I felt it'd be better I stay in this form rather than having him see my true form and reveal he was a pervert. Hera sighed at the comment. Artemis, all creatures, male or female, are perverted to some degree. If they weren't then sex wouldn't be possible. Birthing would not be possible and the world would stop working like it was supposed to work. HMPH we shall see, I might grace him with my adult form if he proves his worth in this mission. But I wouldn't mind having a man like that on my arm. Athena and Artemis were shocked to hear the woman that preached about marriage talking like this. What about Zeus? She snorted. Please, that man has slept with how many mortals now? I personally have lost any love I have for the man after the last child he conceived recently. Personally, I've realized that marriage has to be an equal partnership and so far that is not the case anymore. If I was to find another lover, someone that truly loves me, then that would be fine in my book. The two women were looking at each other, thinking about what this could mean in the end. More in the sense that Zeus would be furious and this would cause him to spin out into a rage and thus leading to more conflict in Olympus. Things were getting interesting for sure. With Naruto, he managed to find out he was in the outskirts of one of the burnt down camps. So sensing around he felt a dark presence a few miles from him, so he rushed into action and proceeded to try and find the mythical beast. He knew that compared to many of the beings that he has fought in the past, the power that the monster possesses is going to be on another level. But its speed should not be as good as either Sasha, Mikoto, or Kushina due to them being on another level. Naruto soon arrived at the edge of a forest line and saw the great beast that has wandered the underworld to guide the souls into the next life. The giant dog was huge, larger than his school by a good margin. It radiated pure power and destruction and seemed to be spitting out fire from its very jaws. Its dark red eyes gave it an intimidating presence, as if it was looking into your very soul at this point. It had black fur that covered its entire body except for its underbelly. The beast's 3 heads were staring him down with its pointy ears pointing the sky, thus completing the look of what many consider the scariest being in all of Greece. Alright, so Cerberus, I don't know if you can understand me or not, but could you please tell me why you left your post? The beast roared and fired a ball of fire from its center head. Naruto ducked out of the way of the attack and saw a paw coming down on him and he quickly reacted by having his sword come to hand and slice the bottom of the foot. The dog screamed in pain, pulling itself away from him, but he quickly started to slice at his legs. The dog roared in pain, thus releasing a dark burning blaze from its body and outward. He dodged the attack by backing away and then holding his hand out to the creature. Allah. Red orbs were released from his hand and soon impacting the great beast. But it was more pissed by the attacks and charged at him, jaws open to fire another set of fireballs. Naruto cut the fireballs to pieces but had to block the beast's center head when it came to bite him. He managed to stop it with his sword, cutting up its teeth. Naruto soon returned with a vengeance and sliced its nose with making it back up again. Alright big guy, I think I've played with you long enough. Holding his hands out he said. Akido 9. Strike. Cerberus was covered in a red light and thus was paralyzed in place, preventing it from moving. Geez, this was the big problem. I'm surprised someone hasn't already taken you down already. Naruto's senses went haywire and quickly ducked out of the way of a strike at the back of his head. Turning around he saw that someone with some snake-looking gauntlets was standing there with a smug look on his face. He had gray hair and was wearing what looked like Greek armor on top of a school uniform. His gauntlets were interesting since they had covered his arm up to the elbow, but saw that the items had some kind of pattern of a hydra on it now that he got a better look at them. Who are you? The man laughed. I'm the hero known as Hercules. The greatest hero in the history of Greece. Naruto frowned, this was the man behind the controlling of the Cerberus, but it made no sense. He didn't have a high magic aptitude or even intelligence, so how did this lumbering muscle-bound idiot do this? Really, the Hercules, how is this possible? I mean, didn't he die like centuries ago? Yes, but I'm his spirit descendant, meaning all of his powers and skills are mine now. He laughed loudly, showing his arrogance, causing Naruto to sigh. Really, this guy was supposedly a monster in his own right. Yeah right, he might as well been a poser telling him he was a god. Sure, and you're the one that controlled the great 3-headed dog that is now caught under my spell. I sure did. I mean, who else other than the man that tamed the great dog in the past can do it? Pretty much anyone with an IQ higher than yours. The man growled. Don't you dare mock me, you're nothing but a small-time mortal compared to me. He charged at him and Naruto blocked his punch with his sword, preventing it from touching him, but he noticed that there was spikes at the end of the weapon. Thus this meant that in some way that the powerful weapon had some kind of poison going through it since it was dripping some kind of purple ooze. So mind explaining your fancy little toy to me? The man snarled. Don't you dare mock them. These are weapons that were created from the first Hydra. They possess the creature's powerful poison, and the gauntlets themselves will poison anyone that is hit by the spikes. I see, so then I just need to avoid that from happening. Good to know. Naruto quickly pushed his hands up and then stabbed him in the stomach, causing the man to grunt. Hercules was not deterred by the attack and quickly fixed this by coming down with a double axe handle. Naruto knew it was coming, so he managed to jump away from him and summon his sword back into his hand, leaving him bleeding. Naruto turned and saw the great dog was now lying on the ground as if it was unconscious. That really was puzzling him. Who was controlling the great beast? I mean, it had to be someone of great power, someone that had the brains and means to controlling such a dangerous monster to those around them. Die. Naruto quickly reacted and ducked under a punch aimed at his head before slashing him again on his stomach. From there, Naruto put his sword into his back, causing him to gasp in pain. He then broke free of his blade stab and swung his fist backwards to hit him in the face. But he still missed the strike, and thus Naruto kicked his legs out from underneath him. Finally, Hercules smashed his fists into the ground and thus sending a shockwave. Naruto flew away from him and high into the sky, seeing Hercules furious about losing to him. He looked at his weapon and threw them to the ground and shouted. I will kill you without some faulty weapon slowing me down. Naruto frowned at his comment. You know it was not the weapon's fault that you were losing. You just suck, plain and simple. Silence. Only a real hero can defeat me and you are not one. Hercules gathered some more power into his body and soon released a golden-looking fur covering his body that started slowly healing his body. But then it turned into some kind of golden aura that started firing magical missiles at him. Naruto dodged out of the way of the attacks before he finally sighed. I hoped you would be stronger in this fight. But I had too high hopes for you. Naruto's eyes were gold now and soon with a black outline in them. He disappeared from in front of the man and slammed his fist into his stomach, causing him to come off the ground a bit. This leads to Naruto sending his sword away so he can deck him with a vicious hook, sending him flying across the ground again. Naruto dashed off once more and then brought his heel down on his head, implanting him into the ground, leaving him with broken bones most likely. For all of his boasting, he only could take the basic attacks and basic weapons, but outside that, someone with his skills and power can deal massive damage to him. Plus his sacred gear can help power him up too. Out of nowhere, Naruto saw someone approaching from the side. The person in question was a tall man with dark hair and carrying around a green spear on his back. His black hair went down his back and he had a face that showed maturity but pure rage flowing through him, along with pure power coming off him in waves. So Hercules, you are incapable of defeating one measly human. How disappointing. It goes to show that your ancestor really was nothing special. The man growled at the new arrival before watching him spin his dark halberd around and aiming it at Naruto. My name is Lubu, the greatest warrior this world has ever known and wielder of the great demon halberd. Interesting, so what does this great weapon do? Fool, this is the reason that all demons bow to the one true demon of this world, me. I can control anything that is the greatest evil in this world, if not then I will crush them for not obeying me. Naruto sighed. Great, another boastful idiot. I mean, his sacred gear was like that too, but it had a reason behind him that was legit, while these guys are just inheriting the sticks in the ass that their ancestors had before them. Plus he was whispering about this being not a sacred gear of interest, more it was a weapon that he would not need thanks to the world possessing weapons that could do this too, but at a larger and more leisurely scale. Why don't you quit talking and just start fighting me? The man smirked. As much as I should slay you, we have places to be, and the Cerberus has done its job. So he pointed the weapon at the three-head animal, releasing it from his control and allowing it to finally be free from the mind control that has blinded it. Naruto then saw him slam his weapon on the ground and they both disappeared into nothingness. Looking around, Naruto sighed before turning to the mighty beast. You alright? Think you could make it home from here? The creature bowed its head to Naruto and licked him once before disappearing back to the underworld. Naruto sighed before going over and picking up the gauntlets that Hercules dropped on the ground. He touched it and activated his sacred gear that absorbed them into himself before reappearing on his arms in a better, tighter fit. From there, Naruto sent them away and started walking back to the city to find clues to the underworld, but felt someone appear behind him and was shocked to see who it was. It's you. Underworld. Then Alana was just finishing packing her stuff and was heading out the door when she ran into her son. He looked distraught and he was just trying to figure things out at this point. She comforted him like she did when he was a child and he explained how he is screwed up already, how she reincarnated someone without them knowing and going against the Shinto faction, along with the fact that the leader of the faction already knew. She sensed him the minute he got on campus and knew, thus leading to the conversation recently being an uncomfortable one. More in the sense, they were demanding something as repayment and he had absolutely nothing left to give other than his title and blood at this point. Sometimes I wonder why she is this way. Vanillana sighed. Because of you and your father and the underworld as a whole. I warned both of you about spoiling her like you did. Now her arrogance has grown to the point that she is out of control. I know that now mother, but at the same time I don't get the hostility against Naruto and the need to basically fuck everyone to get the boy. Riser. Surzich groaned. If she wanted help, why didn't she ask us? I mean, yeah, we can't do anything for the marriage itself, but we could subtly help her find special peerage pieces that can help her out. More in the sense, find her members that can help her even the odds if she was to face him in battle for her freedom. Son, what exactly are they asking for? He looked at her. A slave for a slave. Ah, well then what would be the requirements? He counted it off on his hand. First, a woman of noble blood, someone that is close to the Gremory family as a whole, areas in general, someone that is understanding of the conditions, and finally someone that is female. They made that abundantly clear since we took a male in this case. I see, she sighed, I'll do it then. What, mother? Surzich, it is the only way, plus some time away from your father and underworld for the most part would do me some good. Yeah, but you'll be a slave, mom, not some noble woman. She smiled slightly. If this makes your job a little easier, I can live with it, and plus from what you are saying, I'm not going to be some toy, just someone to be held while they work out more ways to pay for me back. Mother, please, we can find some other way. She shook her head. No, as her mother, it is my failure that she is like this, and it is this same mother that is going to pay for it. But more importantly, I want you to see that I'm doing this to reduce the stress you are under. Surzich smiled, his mother was so selfless, she would give anything for her children and her grandchild. It was one of the reasons he spent time with her more than his father, who was more arrogant about his position and thinking he was the best. He learned everything from his mother, including his magic and power he possessed and the talent as well. Alright, I will make the arrangements, but you have to have this. He showed her a spiritual marker, making it out to a collar that will be around her neck. This would signify that she was a slave in the old-fashioned kind of way that the yokai used for those that broke serious laws and are not worthy of dying via execution. They performed the ritual, and before long she was in the human world and living in a new house that was prepared for her next to Naruto's home. From there, she was told the rules and stipulations for her living in the city and being a slave for the Shinto faction. Overall, it was not a bad deal, and Vanillana smiled about finally having the chance to find herself again, but she did wonder what was going on with that poor boy that her daughter had reincarnated. Kuo. Issei was sweating like crazy. Today he had a hell of a day getting away from campus without running into Rias. Not only did he pass by someone that was like an older male version of Rias, but he also saw a short girl wearing a green suit that looked just like the school president. What was worst, he had to avoid the Gremory group that was looking for him throughout the day until he got off campus. When he got off campus, he looked at the directions Sasha had given him and proceeded to follow them until he ran into a hotel-looking building that stood at least 4 stories tall. Knocking on the door, he saw a purple-haired woman with red eyes opening the door for them. "Oh, you must be my new tenant, Issei, correct?" Issei blushed at the beautiful woman and bowed his head to her. "Yes, I was told by Lady Sasha that I was to come here." "Indeed, welcome, my name is Mia and I run this lovely inn. To be frank, I'm a yokai myself, and so are the rest of the tenants that are living here. Some have sacred gears while others do not. But that is not the important thing, since Sasha is taking care of you for now and you are friends with the Shinto faction now and wanting to hide from the devils, I'm allowing you stay here rent-free. But rest assured, if you commit any perverted act," a scary-looking mask appeared behind her, scaring Issei stiff, "I shall personally show you my brand of punishment, is that clear?" Issei nodded his head like crazy, making her aura disappear. "Excellent, please come in and meet the other tenants." Issei walked into the building and was surprised how nice the place was, including Mia having some pictures of the people she has known over the years. Not too long after arriving and being allowed into his room, he started meeting the different people living in the home. One was a girl with brown hair and usually walking around in her underwear. This girl was Yuzume, and apparently she was a half-breed born with the power to manipulate anything that she uses to cover her body and use as a weapon as a whole. Next, he met a pretty boy who had silver hair and was known as a Kitsune yokai with the power over fire. There was another with blonde hair with the power over water, and finally one with the power over wind. He was shocked by the presence of almost unnaturally beautiful women and handsome men, but he was welcomed nevertheless. He was warned to keep his perverted habits to a minimum, that way he didn't bother the other guests, and Issei agreed with that. While he was still a happy pervert with all the sexy women around, he knew that it was better for him to show a little more control of himself. Especially since he was taking this a chance and making a good impression and wanted to make sure the women know what he considered the real him and the one everyone on campus knows. In time, he got used to the weird atmosphere of basically the women arguing with each other and the guy just taking it all in stride. For him it was weird to see, but it was something he was getting used to over time. From this point, he was more worried about them all getting hurt if the devils come, but they assured him that they tangled with devils before and they would be alright. That still didn't make him worry any less since from what he had seen so far these devils were going to be coming for him since he was technically belonging to someone. Mia assured him that something was going to be done about this. Issei fell asleep in his room and sighed, today was not a bad day for something that stared out being complete shit. Next day. After getting dressed and having breakfast he was on his way to school when he ran into someone that was standing on the corner. From what he could see she was a nun and had long blonde hair and blue eyes. When he passed her, her stuff fell out of her luggage and he quickly helped her gather up everything. More in the sense, he gathered up her underwear and quickly put it back in her briefcase, leaving him a bit excited about the white underwear. But he knew better than to perv on a nun, plus he could swear he feel the demon mask on him. So he just asked. You okay? If you wouldn't mind, I'm kind of lost. She gave a smile and he blushed. Who is she? Chapter end. Seraph and Monster. Old friends and dangerous encounters. Naruto stood in shock, he couldn't believe it. He hadn't seen this person since he was a child and they moved away to join the rest of their people in the mountains to become monster hunters. This person was a beautiful blue hair girl with golden eyes and wearing silver night outfit with blue attire that hugged her figure tightly. Her skirt left little to the imagination of her hips and body and showed her tight busty figure for all to see along with her smooth-looking ass. On top of that she had a powerful silver sword at her side and a band to keep the rest of her hair in line. This was Yuki and she was his childhood friend and a hero that was trained to hunt down rogue monsters and demons that were harming the human world. Yuki, it's been too long. The girl smiled slightly with a small blush on her face. Yes, it has been Naruto-kun, how have you been? I've been good, you? Same, most of my training is done so I'm allowed to go out into the field and test myself against the monsters of this world. So far I've taken down most monsters that are about A class or B class with no problem. Interesting for sure, glad to know your training paid off for you. He walked up to her and while standing there rubbed the top of her head, leaving her smiling from the familiar affection. So what are you doing out this way? She frowned. I've been hired by someone in the Greek pantheon to take care of this problem with a rogue monster. But by the looks of it you took down Cerberus, meaning the problem here in the human world is fixed, but those two from earlier are still going to be a problem. Indeed, Hercules left me a nice weapon to use, but the other one Lu Bu I can see he is smarter combat-wise compared to his ally, but not by much. His weapon also has the power to subjugate demons and monsters. But I think the weapon has its weakness of only working on those that are weak-minded or weakened by combat. Yes, but now the problem seems to stem to somewhere into the underworld, which means we need to follow them. We? Yes, we, Naruto-kun, we have no idea what is waiting for us down there, so it is better we work together to take it down. Naruto thought about it for a second and sighed. I guess you are right. Putting his hand out he opened a gate for them to enter and he motioned her to go first. Yuki jumped through the portal and summoned his sacred gear before following behind her. Entering the underworld they saw that they were in a dark pathway and sighed, looked like they were going to follow this path to wherever the heroes were hiding out. But before they could get far they saw some dead spirits rising from the ground and groaning at them. Well damn, isn't this annoying? Yes, Naruto-kun. She summoned her sword to her side and stood at his side. Looks like we are going to need to fight our way out. Yeah, but we can also do this. Naruto gathered some of the energy to his finger and aimed it at the spirits and said. Zero out of the tip of his finger, he fired a dark green beam that overshadowed all the spirits and blew a hole through the wall of the tunnel. There they could see the fires of hell burning brightly in the distance, along with feeling the presence of the heroes out that way as well. Well, shall we? He picked up Yuki and they started flying through the sky, never noticing the girl blushing at the feeling of her crush carrying her. This is what it must feel like to be a princess. She smiled but then shook her head, focus mission first, and then I can try to enjoy this. She blushed again but was ready for combat. They had flown through the land and saw different areas of fire and brimstone and other points of a river with a ferry that was carrying departed souls into the next world. Cerberus looking at them with a sad look as if saying sorry for all the trouble he has caused lately. On top of all of that, they saw some places that looked peaceful for the people there and gathered this must be the land of peace everyone always talked about if you were a good person at heart. They soon saw the heroes gathered around some kind of dark post that was sitting at the highest point in the entire underworld. Landing on the ground the two saw them and grunted at the sight. So you found us? Yes, Hercules, for your crimes you are sentenced to death by the Greek pantheon. Yuki pointed her sword at the brute and he grunted at the sight of the woman challenging him. So he charged her, but when he swung at her she was gone in a blur. He wondered where she went but found his back and chest cut deeply by her sword. You're too slow. Yuki was standing next to Lu Bu with her sword flicking the blood off the blade. The man swung his halberd at her, but she leapt over the blade and kicked him in the face, sending him skidding back. Naruto watched, he was impressed how much Yuki had improved since they were kids and could see she really honed her skills to the fine pointed detail. Damn bitch. Hercules charged her again and threw more magic at her, but this time she cut the attack in half. Then spinning around she blocked the halberd thrusted at her and pushing her back slightly. Hercules was on top of her and threw a punch at her head, but she quickly reacted by tilting her head to the side. From there, she pushed the halberd away from her and then spun around slashing Hercules again in the chest. Now you're pissing me off. He threw another punch, but again she was gone in a blur standing again next to Naruto. Come on guys, Naruto approached them with his sword at his side, you guys can obviously see that you can't win this fight, right? I mean, if Yuki is beating you up and I defeated you earlier, Hercules, there is no way both of you could defeat both us, let alone one of us. So how about you make this easier on yourself by just surrendering and we can promise the Pantheon might kill you for your crimes. Lu Bu grinned. Oh right, we'll do that after we are 6 feet under and have admitted women belong on the battlefield. Yeah, and besides, Hercules saw the pedestal breaking, the ritual is completed and now we only have to watch as this monster kill you both. The statue broke and out of it came a dark force, Yuki could feel the presence of the monster. It was powerful, stronger than even the strongest warrior in the village, and she could dare say that this thing would bring their people to ruin. Standing there was a monster unlike anything that she has seen in her life. It had power radiating from every pore of its body and seemed to just stink of just blood and something else. Standing before them was a monster with black hair, a snake lower body, and claw hands that seemed to extend into snakes. Tiffin. Naruto knew the myth, he was the origin of all monsters including the Sphinx, Manticore, Hydra, and Cerberus himself. He knew from the legend the monster was sealed in the underworld after his defeat at the hands of Zeus eons ago. Who has summoned me? The monster looked and saw the 2 heroes standing before him, one of you reeks of the blood of Zeus, who is it? It is I, the descendant of Hercules. The monster growled. Tell me why I should not slaughter you here and now. Because Lord Tiffin, turning to Lu Bu, he pointed his halberd at the 2 heroes. We have freed you from your slumber so you may do as you please. All we ask is that you kill those 2 heroes over there. Tiffin pondered this for a few seconds before grinning. It has been some time since I had a woman. Her having blue hair only makes this more exotic for me. Soon I shall have her crying tears of pain as I take her over and over again and force that poor fool to watch. Very well, since you brought me such a harvest and freed me, I shall deal with this. But if you ever try to control me or use me again after this, I shall kill both of you. He showed his power with it, causing the entire ground to shake and making Naruto and Yuki go on the defensive. Yuki, be ready, this is going to be more difficult than we expected. Yes, but we have a chance to win this. Tiffin believes he is the strongest so we can catch him by surprise with some of our attacks. Naruto nodded his head, but suddenly he felt his gear disappear from his hand. What in the? Ah, so you have the blessings of a god, do you? Too bad for you, my power negates that ability, something I picked up when I killed a warrior that tried to slay me centuries ago. Tiffin sent one of the snake heads to him, but Yuki cut it off, causing him to hiss from the pain. Blessed weapons, huh? This is going to be more trouble than I thought. Without warning, the monster was not upon them and striking down with heavy thuds. The 2 managed to roll out of the way of his attack but were hit with a powerful barrage of strikes when he was hit with his snake hands. They bit into him and he felt sick, but Yuki quickly cut them off his body. Tiffin frowned. Seems without your gear you're not as powerful as I hoped. Oh well, maybe your companion can entertain me some more before I defile her. Yuki glared and saw that Naruto was struggling to get up from the bites. Stay here, Naruto-kun, I'll be right back after I deal with him. Naruto tried to stop her, but the poison was acting fast in his system. He fell to the ground and watched as Yuki confronted the monster. They stared at each other for a split second before he lunged at her, but she was behind him with her sword slashing down. Tiffin looked at his now stump of an arm and saw it was removed from his body. He grunted while stopping the blood from flowing out of his body. Impressive, child, you managed to remove my arm. However, a black substance reattached his arm to his body and he quickly lashed back at her with his tail this time. But Yuki was above him and sang a chant that released a magical hail of white light bullets that hit him straight on. He grunted of the damage he was taking and thinking how he was going to enjoy breaking her spirit down the line. But before he could do that, he found the sword cutting his face in half. It's over. You think so? Yuki looked at him stunned as his head reattached itself to the other half. He then smiled at her. You got spirit, I'll give you that, but I feel it's time to show you how outclassed you are in your current situation. Soon his body was covered in a dark black glow and his body started to shift and morph around. His tail retracted into his body and soon 2 black legs came out in its place while his hands turned into bony claws. His head lost its hair and 2 horns sprouted out of his head. Soon he gained a pair of black wings out of his back before finally roaring to reveal his demonic figure. It was almost like he was made from granite and was carved to be scary as hell. His eyes had a dark red and black glow to them and staring down at the two of them. Naruto was still not able to move thanks to the poison earlier still flowing in his veins, and Yuki was struggling to stand at the immense pressure that he was building up. This is my battle mode, girly. Hope you enjoyed that little action you had earlier because now this is where you lose. Yuki aimed her sword again and blurred to him, slashing his chest. But he didn't block as the blade never broke his skin. He grinned at her before raising one of his hands up and slashing down with it to cut her face. She dodged the strike and summoned a green circle in front of her. Mystic Typhoon. The wind exploded from the circle and sent him back a little bit while also chipping off some of his hardened skin. Well, it would seem humans have come a long way since I was free. But it won't be enough. Tiffin slammed his hand down, stopping the wind attack, but Yuki was on top of him. She slashed and stabbed him all over his face and chest. He was backing up but not getting damaged other than her scratching the outer part of her skin. Yuki enhanced her attacks by adding some light magic to the moves and was hoping this would be enough to get through his hardened skin. Tiffin grew annoyed about this and put one hand out and summoned a black orb and said, "Dark Torrent." Black winds erupted from the attack, hitting Yuki and sending her flying. He appeared beneath her and slammed his fist into her back, causing her cough up blood. Next, grabbing her by the face, he slammed her into the ground with a vicious attack. Gathering some lighting into his hand, he sent a current through her body, causing her to spasm from the pain and the suffering she was going through. Lovely screams you have. Once I'm done with this we can get to the real fun. I bet you're virgin and I love virgin girls. Always so tight when I have my first time with them, at least it was before those gods sealed me away. While this was going on, Naruto was struggling to get to his feet and help, but without his gear he couldn't do much. His other powers were strong too, but the problem was that he had not practiced with them enough to not risk hurting Yuki in the process. Damn it, that trumpet is useless. If I hit him and he disappears, chances are Yuki will do the same thing. I can't reach my damn sacred gear, and if I don't do something he is going to violate Yuki. Disgusting creature, he is the kind that needs to be erased from existence. You again, who are you? Another time I will tell you my name, but for now you need to focus. You want to destroy that monster, right? Yes, but I can't move. The poison in my body is bad and my sacred gear is locked away thanks to his power. Tiffin is nothing more than a monster with tremendous power higher than normal rates. If you had your sacred gear, your power in that state could have killed him, but as he is now you would be in deep trouble and would take both of you to kill him with everything you have. Then what do you suggest? I can give you the power to fight him, defeat him, and erase him from existence, but to do this you must promise me one thing. Never use this power on the innocent, otherwise you shall suffer for it. That's it. Fine, I promise never to use this power to hurt innocent people. Now hurry, I need to save Yuki. Very well, the chains of fate have loosened once more and now you shall have the second trumpet. King of Salt. Go forth and crush this sinner and show the world you are the one that shall be the judge, jury, and executioner. Naruto didn't know what, but after he finished he felt something happening to him. His body was flooded with power, he could sense his power was higher than it has ever been in his life. More so than even with his sacred gear at full strength, or at least at the most he could control. The feeling of the poison was gone and now he was standing on his own 2 feet again. But the greatest feeling is that he felt the power giving him the sense that he could destroy this monster in front of him, but he really wanted to show him his sinful actions would be his undoing. Tiffin was finished shocking the girl and without warning ripped off her top and leaving her breasts exposed for the world to see. Why aren't you a fit girl? Don't worry, I promise to put you through your paces. Tiffin said as he touched her neck and moved his hand downward. Please don't. Yuki shouted as she had tears in her eyes, not wanting this monster to touch her, she was saving herself for someone. She closed her eyes, waiting for Tiffin to touch her, but the feeling of the touch never came. Instead she looked up as she opened her eyes and saw something shocking. Naruto was standing there holding the hand of Tiffin and his eyes were different. They looked almost possessed, but she could see he was in control of this power he was displaying. She knew it was not mana, it was something else, something greater and more condensed and heavier. Naruto smiled down to her. Hey, don't worry, I got this now, you rest. He turned to the monster and frowned, prepare for your soul to be erased, sinner. Tiffin growled. You've recovered, but that does not mean you are stronger than me, weak human trash. He tried to move his arm out of the control of Naruto, but he found it stuck and Naruto smiling at him this time. Oh, trash am I? Then I shouldn't be able to do this then. Letting go of the arm, he slugs him across the face, sending him flying across the map and crashing into a nearby area. Naruto screams in pain as he summons black wings out of his back that turn into brown sticks. He leaps into the air and flies at Tiffin, leaving Yuki to recover while covering her chest from being exposed. But she sees Lubu and Hercule smiling and about to approach her, but then a blue portal opens up and out comes someone she loathed to see again. It was a black-haired teen wearing a tight black shirt and wearing a white outfit tied around his waist, along with some black pants and boots. "Yuki-chan, it has been a while," she growled. "How come not long enough if you ask me? Oh, you wound me, are you still bitter about what happened between us?" She glared at him. "I must say though, you have filled out since we last saw each other." She summoned a green circle and fired a spell of wind at him. He just swatted it away with his spear. "Oh, you are still angry, I knew it." He turned to his two men and glared, "Did you two do this?" "No, cow, it was Tiffin. When we released him he attacked her and this guy she was with named Naruto, I think." Lu Bu didn't care for names, but the name did catch his attention. "I see, so he is here then." Cow said dryly as his eyes narrowed. "Yeah, but he was going to rape that girl, and then he comes out of it and starts beating the shit out of the monster now with ease. It's like nothing we have ever seen from someone that has a sacred gear." "I see." Looking over, he sees Naruto and Tiffin fighting in the sky now with the monster firing dark torrents of wind at Naruto. But he just forms a black sword from the blood and cuts the attacks in half with ease. "Well then, it looks like things are in good hands then. Otherwise I would have killed that beast for daring to touch dear Yuki." He walked up to her and pulled her face to meet his. He smiled, "Might I steal a kiss still?" He reached down to kiss her, but her sword Sakuya came to his neck. "Make one more move and I'll slice your throat." He saw the dark glare in her eyes and laughed before walking back over to his men. "Well now I must be off, Yuki, we have what we came for anyway. But cow, I wanted to pay that bastard back for humiliating me earlier." He aimed his spear at him. "We only were using that monster, remember? I have what we came for, so no more fighting, we leave." Turning to Yuki, he smiled and winked. "I'll be back for you in the near future, my sweet, and when I am Naruto will no longer be an issue to contend with, I promise." He waved before they disappeared in a blue circle. Yuki sent her sword away and got to her feet, flinching at the pain in her back and the feeling of her right leg being numb. But she dragged herself to the ledge and saw the fight raging on heavily. Naruto was floating in the air smiling while the monster was huffing badly. His body was bruised from the punches he was eating, and the fact his attacks were being cut in half was irritating him. Naruto seemed to be a different warrior from what he saw earlier and was able to dispatch with ease. "So you done yet, sinner?" Naruto noticed he was thinking of the case of this monster being a sinner needing to be purged, but he felt that was more of the other being's mindset bleeding through. "No, I refuse to lose here. Not after I got free after all those years sealed in that damn statue." Naruto saw him charging him again and he sent his black substance blade away, flying straight at him. He threw a hook at his body and he coughed up blood again before Tiffin retaliated with a swiping of his claw hand. Naruto was gone and above him before kicking him in the back of the head, punting him into the nearby wall. He pulled himself out of the wall before flying back at Naruto with a dark orb in his hand again. This time the orb turned into a giant torrent of dark energy that he fired and exploded in front of him. He smiled thinking he got him until he felt a punch to his stomach and saw he was standing next to him on his left. Naruto saw that Tiffin, while powerful in Greek sense, was not stronger than whatever he was now. So not wanting to drag this fight out more, he held his hand out and thought. Sing the trumpet of the king of salt. Soon a white spear appeared into his hands made of small particles of salt. This led to him spinning the spear in his hand before aiming it at the monster. "I human. Darkness vortex." He fired one giant ball of darkness at Naruto and hit him with it direct on impact, sending him into the ground, which was right above the fires of the underworld. But Naruto quickly sliced through the attack and threw the spear, piercing the monster's stomach and out the back. "WWW, what's happening to me?" His body started to crumble and soon it turned into a pillar of salt, leaving nothing behind while it floated into the air of the underworld. Naruto sighed before seeing Yuki sitting on the ledge of the original fighting grounds. He flew over to her and quickly picked her up. "Hold on, I'll fly us out of here." With that, he took off into the underworld sky and flew until he could find the portal that would lead them out of there. Time skip. After the two heroes managed to make it out of the underworld, they landed in the outskirts of the Greek countryside, where finally the power in Naruto was sealed back up and he crashed to the ground with a thud. From there, he passed out, hearing Yuki screaming for him to wake up. The next day he woke up in a soft bed seeing that he was in Olympus, but more importantly he was in the temple of Apollo. He was a blonde man with a handsome complexion. He welcomed him to Olympus while mentioning that he was in seriously bad shape from the poison that was in his system. Explaining the power that he used didn't cure him, but it suppressed it to the point that he could no longer feel the poison in his body anymore. But once the power wore off, the poison returned in full force and left him in critical condition. Thankfully he was able to recover from this damage and soon they both would make a full recovery. Seeing Yuki enter the room, he saw she was wearing one of the white togas around her body and he blushed how it complemented her figure with how tight and revealing it was. Yuki smirked as she saw his reaction and had asked if she could keep the toga, to which she was told yes. Naruto, after being allowed to leave, was given a toga of his own and honestly felt very exposed due to him having no underwear underneath his toga, and the sight of the beautiful women made him worry about being noticed for his excitement. They both stood in front of Hera and the other gods and goddesses, who all were showing mixtures of emotions. Hera spoke. "Naruto and Yuki, we thank both of you for your assistance in dealing with Cerberus, but we never expected another faction would go out of their way to use him to enter the underworld. More so that they could release that monster Tiffin from his supposed eternal prison. Yes, it was not easy, I tell you, but thanks to Yuki and her quick thinking we managed to get the edge on him. But you finished him, Naruto, with that power of yours." Zeus narrowed his eyes at Naruto. "What was that power you used that destroyed Tiffin? We have not been able to sense him, which means he is gone forever. Where did it come from, boy?" Hera glared at her husband. "Watch it, Zeus, you are on thin ice." He stood up with a roar. "I'm still the king of Olympus and have the right to question potential threats to your way of life." Poseidon, a man with a brown bear and trident, snorted. "More like you are nervous about the premise of that someone can threaten the great king because he slayed a monster you barely defeated on your own." Zeus narrowed his eyes at his brother and was about to shout again, but he was cut off by Hera continuing. "However, even with the death of Tiffin, I fear that there are greater threats that loom over us. For the thing they took from the underworld is rumored to be a device that was given to us by God." Naruto raised an eyebrow at them, but saw they refused to elaborate further. Now he was curious, what was the big secret behind the thing that Yuki told him he was there, that he stole? Oh well, Amaterasu might know if he asks, given the gods talk to each other all the time. "Thanks to your bravery, we wish to ask if you too have anything you wish from us. Anything you want from us and within our powers, we will give it to you." Naruto thought about it for a second but could think of nothing, while Yuki thought about it a bit and said. "There is something I would like from Aphrodite in the future, but not now." The beautiful blonde woman smiled. "Sure thing, sweetheart, just use one of these to call me when you want me to come around." She threw one of her stones at him, break it, and she could summon the goddess to her side. "For me, I have nothing." The Greeks were shocked, a hero that wanted nothing from any of them. "Are you sure?" He smiled at Hera. "Yeah, I mean, today I learned more about myself and got to see Olympus. I really don't have anything that I could possibly want." Hera smiled and blushed a little. "Honestly, I wish someone would be more like you. Happy with what they have instead of going out seeking out more." She glared at her husband, who shirked from her gaze. "But I don't feel good about leaving you without something, so I want to give you this." She walked up to him and without warning, brought him into a passionate kiss with her tongue going down his throat and having a heated makeout session in front of the others. Yuki gasped, feeling intense anger and jealousy at Hera kissing her friend. The gods and goddesses were shocked, but some were looking at Zeus, who was blowing a fuse about this. "Hera, what is the meaning of this?" She broke from the kiss with a trail of saliva connecting them and pecked his lips before turning to her husband with a glare. "So you are angry about me kissing another man?" "Yes, after all you are my wife." She growled. "Then can I expect you to not fool around with any more mortal women?" He yelled. "I'm the king, I can go out and have some pleasurable time, you're the goddess of marriage, so you can't do what I can do." This sent Hera into full fury. "That's it. I've had it with you, fool. We are finished. I, Hera, goddess of marriage, renounce Zeus as my husband and declare us no longer married." The sky rained with thunder and lightning, and soon Zeus felt the detachment from his wife, leaving him feeling worse than before, while she felt lighter and happier. Zeus turned the bolt on Naruto, who was freaking out that he was about to fry his ass, on top of being glared at by Yuki, who was also glaring at Hera. But before his lightning bolt could be fired, Hades chained him in place. "How about you don't piss off the Shinto faction now, brother? After all, we already have bad relations as it is. No point in making them worse." He growled while Hera cleared her throat and handed Naruto a magic crystal. "Give me a ring sometime, Naruto, I would love to get to know you better." Hera winked at him and he quickly tucked the crystal into his back pocket. After that, Artemis in her child form approached. "Unlike most, I do not favor men. Hell, I hate them with a passion, but personally you might be one exception that I'm making, so I would like to give you this." Out of her coat came a powerful purple sword. "This is my personal sword, I have used in war for many years, please take it." Naruto touched the blade and his sacred gear quickly absorbed it and made it part of him, increasing the gear more and feeling it edging closer to his balance breaker. Athena was next and she presented him her own shield and spear and handed them to him, and this too was absorbed by his sacred gear, leading to him feeling his gear humming with content with the power it was gaining. He would have to see how his gear has progressed and the powers he has gained from it. "But that we thank you and hope that we can continue a relationship with your faction. Pegasus, please take these two home." The white horse next to both Naruto and Yuki and knelt down to them to let them climb on its back. Once they were on, it stood up, unfurled its wings and flew into the sky, leaving Zeus to argue with Hera and the other gods. Man, that was tense. Naruto sighed out as the wind whipped his face and as he placed his hands down, accidentally grazing Yuki's butt as she sat in front of him on Pegasus's back. Sorry. Naruto almost fell off as his arm swung around but saved himself when he grabbed and wrapped his arms around Yuki's waist, pulling her into him as he secured his balance. Naruto's sweat dropped when he heard Yuki start laughing, her pale blue hair bellowing in the wind as she laughed. What are you laughing at? Naruto asked aggressively while red in the face. I'm just remembering when we were children. Yuki said as she caught her breath. Oh? Yeah, every time we hugged, you would grab my butt and give it a squeeze. Naruto turned crimson. I don't know what you remembered, but I sure didn't do that. She smiled. I didn't mind Naruto-kun, it was nice. Yuki said as she pushed her butt into his barely clothed groin, blushing at how he was reacting down there as she continued to grind against him. You can touch my butt whenever you want, Naruto-kun. Naruto sputtered and just kept making excuses on the flight home. The horse having a smug smirk on his face showing he didn't believe his excuses and neither did Yuki. He just shouted for them to shut up and flew home in peace. Time skip. Yuki and Naruto finally arrived back at his house. They had gone to the Yokai Hunter's hidden village for Yuki to drop off her report. She had returned to him with a big bag with her and a new mission slip in her hand. She wore a simple skirt, thigh-high socks, and a polo shirt with the buttons undone, showing her collarbone and the edge of her breasts. Naruto had blushed and looked away, boosting Yuki's confidence. So what is your new assignment? I mean, you sent the report about what happened in Greece while I was out, right? Naruto asked as Pegasus took off to go home. Yes, they have ordered me to stay with you. Apparently they think this is a good way for us to build a better relationship with the Shinto pantheon. I see, and you are okay with that. She smiled. Yes, after all I prefer this over doing this with Cao Cao. What is the deal there? How do you two really know each other to the point that you hate the guy? If it is alright with you, I rather not talk about it. Her hair covered her eyes and her fists were tightly digging into her palms. He sighed. Well, at least we are back at my house. Hopefully we can finally relax for a little while before something serious or stupid happens again. Opening the door, Naruto saw something that just made him deadpan at the sight. Standing in the middle of his house was his mother's and apparently the devil that was made a slave to them while this mess was sorted out. She had brown hair, purple eyes, and she had large breasts and a large soft-looking ass. Personally, she was stunning, but the thing that just made this weird situation normal for him was that she was dressed up in a black and white frilly bathing suit, struggling against her large breasts and digging into her ass while having chains around her arms and neck. You really think this is appropriate attire for me? Kushina nodded her head while sulking at the size of her breasts. Yep, this is the uniform of our slaves. Turning her head, she shouted, welcome home, Naruto. This is our new slave Venelana Bale, formerly of Gremory and the mother of Rias and Surziches. Welcome home, master. She smiled and bowed to him, showing her bouncing breasts. Naruto sighed at feeling the heated look from Yuki, whose cheeks were puffed out, and the look she was giving the group of women in the room. You are all going to be the death of me, I swear. Naruto sighed as he rubbed the back of his head. Yuki looked at Kushina, Mikoto, and Venelana. Their bodies were more mature, more curvaceous than her own. Kushina was wearing a short skirt that was risen due to her tails sticking out from under it and showed her panties, and her shirt was a tank top with no midriff, showing the swell and roundness of her breasts. Mikoto wore an off-shoulder sweater shirt and that's it. Both had the aura of sex appeal and obviously flaunted it from their clothing and how they held themselves. Venelana, well, dresses in a maid-style bikini, had sex appeal but had the maturity to know she did not need to flaunt her body to show it off. She simply stood on her feet gracefully as she pulled out of her bow to Naruto, causing her breasts to bounce more from the lack of confinement. Yuki's hands shook before she steeled her resolve. Naruto sighed again as he turned to go upstairs only to see Yuki pulling off her shirt, revealing her blue and white horizontal striped bra. Yuki? Naruto shouted as he stepped back. Kushina, Mikoto, and Venelana looked up and saw Yuki finish pulling her shirt off and throwing it to the side before she reached back and unclipped her bra and, like her shirt, was thrown to the side. Yuki was now bare to his barely covered eyes and red in the face, as her nipples becoming erect from his gaze and her nervousness. She jumped Naruto, making him catch her and grab her butt, pulled him into her face, locking her lips to his and forcing her tongue into his mouth while she pushed her breasts against his chest. Mikoto and Kushina's eyes widened as they screamed at what this girl, who they knew since she was a child, was doing. But what made it worse in their eyes was Naruto lowering Yuki and then wrapping his arms around Yuki's naked waist and push against her lips, pulling her into his body and moaned as their tongues wrestled against each other. Yuki felt her body heat up from the feeling of his arms around her bare skin and his lips and tongue on hers. However, this amazing feeling ended when Kushina and Mikoto pulling them apart and then attaching themselves to Naruto's arms. What are you doing, Yuki? Kushina yelled as she held her son as the fur on her tails and ears standing on edge in fury. Yuki tilted her head. She reached up and touched the center of her bottom lip. "Dissing my boyfriend," Yuki said innocently. Makoto and Kushina deadpanned as they felt their lives shatter. "No. Naruto won't have a girlfriend unless it's me," Makoto yelled as she pulled his head into her breasts. "What the hell are you talking about?" Kushina asked rudely, pulling Naruto into her breasts. "I'm his mother, so I get to choose who he gets with." Then Lana, having sat down, watched stupefied at how two powerful women were arguing over something so disturbing. Naruto removed himself from Makoto and Kushina as they started yelling at each other and Yuki, who also argued with the two women. Naruto sighed as he looked at Lana and went to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of sake and some cups before returning to the living room. "Well, you two are old," Yuki pointed out as she pointed at their bodies. "What does that mean?" Makoto asked as she clasped her breasts. "My girls are firm as hell and have no sag." "Same here, but at least with our age we are more filled out than you, little girl," Kushina said as she grabbed Yuki's breasts, which were significantly smaller than the two adult women. "Well, at least mine are softer," Yuki said smugly. "What?" Kushina and Makoto yelled. Kushina pulled off her tank top, having no bra, and Makoto pulled her sweater down to show her own unconfined breasts, and they started to grope themselves in Yuki's breasts, comparing theirs to hers. "She is softer," both thought. "Want a drink?" Naruto asked Lana as he held out a cup filled with sake to her. Lana nodded and thanked him as she took the cup and drank it, ignoring the squeals and shouts of the other women. As she finished, Lana saw Naruto drinking from his own cup before pouring himself more. "You are a little young to drink, master," Lana said politely. She did not let her own children drink, Surzich's was not allowed until he was 26, so she would not allow Naruto to drink. "In this house," Naruto said as he finished pouring his second glass, pointing towards the girls with a slight blush on his face. "You need to keep drinking." He held out the bottle, silently asking her if she wanted a refill. Then Alana looked over and saw that Yuki, Makoto, and Kushina were now completely naked, groping each other's butts with their hands, and somehow got their hands on a measuring tape for them to measure their measurements. Damn, Makoto thought as she made a note on a notepad. Yuki's breast and skin are softer, and her nipples are a very bright pink, but Kushina's breasts have the better shape, and her areolas are a nicer color. However, mine are bigger and more squishy than theirs combined. Makoto then looked at Yuki's butt. "Her ass flesh is tighter than mine and Kushina's, but we have the advantage with softness and bounciness. I will take you up on that," Alana said as she held out her cup as Naruto poured some more sake into her cup. Chapter end. Chapter 6. Issei, Trouble, and Emergence of End. During his time home Naruto and being back in school, Naruto had asked Sasha what had happened while he was gone. From what he gathered, apparently Issei made friends with a nun and soon brought her to live with him at the inn, but soon fallen angels got involved again. In time Issei and the others that were with his friends soon came to rescue her when she was kidnapped alongside Sasha. From what he learned, she died, but thanks to Sasha's Tenseiga sword, she was able to bring her back from death and allow her to live in the inn more permanently. Last they heard, she was almost a daughter to Miya, who loved having her around and even allowed her to enroll in Kuo, while mentioning to stay away from the devils that were there, for they would only use and abuse her, and to stick near Issei or some others that were in the school. Speaking of the devils, Naruto got word that Rias had tried something and it did not turn out well for her and her group. Flashback. Issei was walking out the gate, having told his friends he had to be back at his new place to do some chores. They complained he was hanging out with so many beautiful women at this time, but told him it is not like that. But the minute he arrived at the gate, he heard someone cough, and turning around, he paled seeing Rias standing there with a glare on her face, along with her peerage. "Issei, where do you think you are going?" I'm heading home, that's where." She glared harder at him. "Issei is one of my servants, you have to stay on campus until we get you situated." Issei, after being told what happened to him and how she forcibly did this to him, glared. "Oh yeah, being a servant, more like slave, to you means that you control and dictate me then? Well then, I have to say you can count me out, I'm not taking orders from someone that forced me into this life." Rias frowned before nodding to Kiba. He took off in a dash and had a sword at his throat. "I'm afraid you have to come, Issei, or you will be punished severely." Issei paled at the blade at his neck, but before he could retort he saw fire coming at them. Standing behind him was his friend from the inn, Homura, who was wearing a classical suit and tie. "Issei, you should be on the way home now, Miya is not going to be happy, you know." He looked at the other devils, but given what is going on, I think she can forgive you for this. Issei bowed to Homura and apologized before taking off. He first thought Homura being one of those pretty boys that thought he was better than everyone. But in reality he was a good person and seemed to be down to earth and understand that he had a healthy lustful attitude. He quickly explained that all yokai have the same thing, worse for some members of the race than others, but it was common one. But he did explain that while he is a pretty boy as it is put, he doesn't go out and date women for reasons such as bragging rights, but more to make ends meet. He is dating women that want to hire him as a pretend boyfriend or someone that could escort them around town or just tell them they are pretty and special. Doing this got him a lot of finances, and this also got him to be one of the best in town to call on when needed. But when he was not doing this, he was training him in hand-to-hand and how to dodge magic and sense it coming at him, so he had a lot more respect for him than others. That and he was teaching him to be a gentleman with women and trying to help make amends to those that he had wrong. Sure, he was still a super pervert in private, but he was going to reshape his public image no matter what. Amuro watched his Kohai run off before turning back to the devils and gathered more fire in his hand. You should know the Yakai faction is watching over him until something can be done for him. You forced him into this life, so we have no choice but help him through it and thus keep him in safety. However, we will not take kindly to you anymore. Ria's Gremory, Sona Citri at least learned from her first mistake, but you seem eager to piss off the entire race as a whole. Ria's glared and flared her magic at him. I reincarnated him, thus making him my pawn. Too bad, as Sasha has officially stated it, the boy is now a free devil. If he wishes it, he can demand reparations from your family for this crime, including you being removed as the heiress. As if my family would. It was offered by your brother. What? Yeah, he knew how bad you screwed up in such a short time. He had to offer Sasha and the Shinto pantheon something, and that is what came up. But they decided against this and only asked that if the boy can be free until they figure something out and that we get someone in trade. Surprisingly, it was someone you know that became a slave to Naruto Nai. He is not in town to see this, but he will find out when he gets home. But back to my point, Hamura gathered his magic more and more to the point that it formed a giant fireball above his head and he held it there for all of them to sweat against. Stay away from my Kohai or I will kill you next time, got it? Rias gritted her teeth. Hamura dispersed the fireball and walked away while ignoring the angry look shot at his back. Rias was furious to the point the stray devil visor was killed before uttering a word while her followers were tortured. This was the sign Rias was losing her mind and patience given what was coming up in the near future. Flashback end. Since then, from what Naruto was told, Rias has tried nothing against them and was only keeping herself under the radar. He did hear that someone was coming to town that was a devil and Sasha was going to sit in on this meeting to make sure things went smoothly. Honestly, he didn't care about them or the church as a whole, given he had more troubling matters to deal with lately. Upon entering the class, the teacher announced. Students, we have a new classmate joining us, please make them feel welcomed. Roswis was smilingly, but it was strained given she was not happy who it was. She knew the girl that was now entering the room, given they were both working with each other in the past and met while Naruto was in town that one time. Since then they became rivals, while Yuki mentioned she would never allow a virgin that never had a boyfriend have her friend, sparking the ire of the Valkyrie. Greetings everyone, I'm Yuki Nanaka, it is a pleasure to be here. She gave a charming smile that all the boys swooned at and the girls start blushing how beautiful she was. Is there any questions for our new student? One boy shot his hand into the air. You single? No, I have a boyfriend. In fact, he is in this school and decided to transfer here to be with him. Walking up to Naruto, she quickly kissed him on the lips and hugged him tightly, and this leaves the class shocked by this action. More so since Naruto was known as one of the most normal students when compared to some of the other people on campus. Naruto looked over Yuki and saw Roswis glaring daggers at her, with her aura flowing out of her body, scaring him and the rest of the students, more so since the desk cracked under the pressure. Now then Yuki, please take your seat while I get started on today's lesson. The day progressed slowly. With the time lunch came around, Naruto retreated to the roof to get away from the rabid animals of students. More so since they seemed to be all about how he and Yuki met, if their relationship was real, and if that their teacher was in the relationship, earning him a glare by Yuki. As this progressed, the only other thing floating around was that Asia was living with Issei at the inn he had moved to for specific reasons that the school deemed reasonable. In this time the boy approached him and thanked him for his help, and Naruto waved him off, telling him to just behave while at the inn. Most of the people there were his family since he moved to Japan with his mothers, and if he heard he did anything to any of them, he would kill him himself, earning a fearful nod by Issei. Upon getting to the roof, Roswis joined him and then Yuki followed behind. The aura was tense while they were eating their own food and silently glaring at each other whenever one moved closer to Naruto. He sighed, it was going to get worse thanks to Sasha joining them and pulling Naruto into her lap and pushing her breasts into the back of his head. This only seemed to increase their rage, and all he could do was sigh, since this is going to be something that becomes more common as time going on. Time skip. A month had passed since the incident with Yuki and him returning to Kuo. Things seemed to be quiet and that was something he was happy about. More so since Riaz and Sona had not bothered him on campus, and the worst thing he had to deal with was his mother smothering him, Yuki trying to up them, and Sasha and Roswis joining in their charades, leaving him and Venelana watching while drinking some sake. At first she admonished him from time to time, but in time she understood his reasons for drinking, as it got to be a point that it is the only thing that numbs the situation at hand. Another problem that had popped up was what to do with Venelana. He told him she was free to go whenever, but she said this was something she wanted to do to apologize to him and the rest of the Yakai faction and show she was not above doing the same thing they felt they were subjugated to. So he just ended up accepting it and getting to know the woman that was now his slave. Apparently she was the mother of Riaz and Surzich's, so he tried to be neutral to her since she was not at fault for how Riaz turned out in this case. In time, she and him became good friends with her mentioning from time to time that she wished her husband was more like him, more like ex-husband if what she said was true. In time he grew to like the woman, but he still kept her at distance due to his past experience with devils at this point. Currently, Naruto and Venelana were at the grocery store, restocking their food supply with 5 people living there. They needed more food faster than he remembers needing when having 3 people. "You alright?" Naruto asked as he placed some food in their cart. "Why do you ask?" Venelana stated as she started to push the cart while Naruto looked at their grocery list. "You seem to be distracted the last 2 weeks." Naruto responded. "Oh, you noticed?" Venelana mumbled. "Yeah, I did. Now are you going to tell me or am I going to have to order you to tell me what I want to know?" Venelana sighed. "Riaz is getting married," Venelana stated. She did not want to. It was an arranged marriage like I was to Zeodicus. I believe she could be happy with the man she is to marry, but she is being stubborn and refuses to. "I second that," Naruto replied. Venelana nodded. "Well, 2 weeks ago, her fiancé Rizer Phoenix came to Kuo and demanded he marry her soon. Riaz refused and challenged him to a rating game." Naruto nodded knowing what the game was after she told him about them. Riaz had 10 days to train, and instead of training their weaknesses to lessen them, she focused on their strengths and in this regard she lost. That was 4 days ago and tonight is the engagement party. "I see." Naruto said unfeelingly toward the subject. "You said you feel like she could have been happy in this arranged marriage. Were you?" Venelana nodded as they stopped and picked vegetables. "I was very happy. I had 2 beautiful children. But the recent decade after Riaz was born, Zeodicus and I drifted." Naruto made no move or indication of understanding her pain. "Sorry about this," Venelana stated as she put the food in the cart. "I'm rambling." "It's fine," Naruto stated as they got in line and soon were out the door with bags in hand when his phone rang. Naruto's house. Naruto burst through the door and turned to see his mothers with solemn looks on their faces. "Okay, what is going on? Usually you two are bothering me continuously." "It is Yuzume." Naruto eyes widened. This was someone that he came to see as a sister since he stayed in Japan. She was perverted, but she was always there to comfort him whenever he needed her and became his true sister, even if it is not of blood. This brought tears to her eyes for finally having a real family of her own. "What happened?" Kushina looked at Mikoto and her ears drooped. "She is in the hospital for Yakai here." Naruto didn't wait for anything else and quickly dashed out the door. He was running down the street in breakneck speed and before long, he arrived at the 10-story hospital in downtown Kuo. Inside he saw Yakai and demons wandering around the halls. This was a hospital only for the supernatural and something that was hidden under the look of a real hospital due to it having a human wing for humans and having most under illusions. Walking up to the front desk he said. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I heard there was a woman here named Yuzume. Where is she?" The nurse looked at her logs and frowned. "She is on floor 3 room 8, but she is bad condition." Naruto ignored her and ran up the stairs and managed to find the room, but outside the room he saw Miya and the others with tears on their face. Issei was sitting there holding a crying Asia and little brown hair girl on his lap. "Miya," the woman turned to see Naruto and frowned. "Naruto, why are you here?" Naruto growled. "I heard Yuzume was here. You think I'm going to go to school?" "What happened?" Miya opened her mouth but closed and looked down at the floor. Naruto growled, and soon his power was starting to cause the room and floor to shake and his eyes flashing gold and red. The doctor walked out of her room and he walked up to him and asked. "What the hell happened? You better tell me or so help me." His golden aura was flowing out of control, but Venelana managed to stop him with a quick grabbing of his wrist. "Naruto, I know you're angry and worried, but getting bent out of shape is not going to help." Naruto sighed. She was right, but he wanted answers. The doctor coughed. "Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, son, but your friend is in bad condition. You see, she was 2 days ago, burned by magical fire, more likely that of a demon, and well, that was the light part of her external injuries compared to her internal ones." "What are you?" Naruto's eyes widened. "No." She was raped continuously through this whole session from what we tested, and we believe this person branded him. He showed him a picture of the brand and he burned it into his eyes with the fury starting to come out of his body more and more. His head was spinning and soon he could hear his sacred gear screaming for him to calm down, but he couldn't. He needed to know who did this. I know that mark, it is the mark of the Phoenix family. Naruto turned to Vanillana and she saw his eyes turn gold and black and soon he dropped the picture and walked out of the hospital. Vanillana was worried as she knew that horrible boy Riser must have done this to that poor girl. She looked through the window and saw the girl curled in a ball crying and having the nurses to help her calm down. Is this what we fought for? For our race to act like the old ways and treat other races as if they are not nothing special? If that is the case, maybe Lord Bale is wrong. I don't think of being a devil as a privilege, but something that is a sin. Naruto had walked out of the hospital and appeared at the nearby park before collapsing. Flashback. I feel like I'm losing control of my life. Naruto groaned as he leaned against Yuzume. Yuzume laughed as she went through all he told her just now, all the women in his life jumping him to fuck him, and all that was comedy gold to the cloth yokai. It's not that funny. I'm sorry. Yuzume said with a smile that showed she wasn't. But I feel like laughing as you clearly don't see the obvious answer hanging in front of you. Naruto frowned. And what would that be? Yuzume had a cheeky smile on her face. Make a harem, of course. Naruto leaned back and lay on his side, his back towards her. As if I would make a harem. Oh come on, it isn't like you never thought about making one. I haven't. What? Naruto felt a ringing in his ears. Come on. Yuzume said, who was now on her knees behind him, leaned forward pressing her big and soft bust against his arm. You have to at least think about it some time. Naruto stayed silent as he ignored her. Well, you are no fun. Yuzume pouted as she turned around and leaned against Naruto. Several minutes passed in silence. You know. Yuzume leaned back and looked at his face. I might think about it. Naruto mumbled. About what? Making a harem? Yuzume's eyes widened with stars in her eyes. Really? Tell me, who are you going after first? I said I'd think about it. I bet it's going to be Yuki. Naruto sighed as he face-palmed. Flashback end. His eyes were brimming with tears and his thoughts were clouded with rage and fury as that was the last time he saw her, which was 3 days before today. Naruto could feel his gear trying to calm him down, but he would not, those damn devils. They thought they could do as they pleased to innocent people and harm them without consequences. They let this happen with the Nekashu. They did this with the innocent victims of their peerage system. Those that were born of half-breed parents. When does it end? Those filthy sinners. His eyes burned dark gold and soon he screamed, I will erase all of them. Kid. Stop, the Seraph is. It does not matter what you tell him, fool. His rage has finally released me from my chains and now I shall purge this world of sin. You son of a bitch. You know if you do this you'll kill everyone he loves in the process. Is that something you want him to deal with when he comes back to? The Seraph smiled. He has nothing to worry about. I will not harm the humans or the other races, just the devils. They are a plague on this world and must be eradicated as it was Kami's single command to wipe out all who sin. I will not allow that rapist and monster go free no matter what. Sit back and watch me and play at full power. In this moment the Seraph and Naruto screamed and soon a black pillar exploded around him and soon the entire ground was breaking and the sky was turning black. In the Uzumaki home Kushina and Makoto sensed it with Yuki and Sasha. Shit, the Seraph of the end has awakened. It was bound to happen soon. Kushina, he was close to Yuzume. I know Makoto, but this is not what we need. What are you guys talking about? She saw Kushina and Makoto summon their warrior outfits of them in tight like shinobi clothing and revealing BDSM outfits. Sasha was standing there with her swords and ready to get a move on if her gold eyes were anything to go on. We'll explain on the way there, Yuki, but we need to get moving. The girl nodded her head and turned into her warrior outfit and had her sword at her side. At the park Naruto got to his feet but his posture was different than before. His eyes were gold and black, he had black wings of string out of his back and his body was covered in a dark aura that was scaring all the life around him away. Now then, time to purge the sinners of this world. He slashed the air and opened a portal, thus leading to him to the underworld, but before he could enter the portal he was hit with a ball of fire. Looking up he saw Hamura falling out of the air and landing in front of him. Seraph, we will not allow you to rampage no matter what the other race has done. So you would allow a rapist to run wild in the world on the hopes that he will learn his lesson? Such a foolish concept, now move, child. He then flew into the sky to dodge a powerful slash breaking up the ground. Standing in front of the portal was Miya, who had her katana in hand and was glaring the man down. He saw Kushina, Makoto, Sasha and Yuki show up as well with Vanillana there as well and shocked to see what happened to him. You all oppose me? The one that brings justice to the world every time it becomes deep in sin. But justice. You're just going to kill innocent devils that have nothing to do with this mess. Why not kill just the boy and be done with it? He frowned. They do not learn from this will only breed resentment to me. Better to wipe out of the cancer that is there completely before it can fester and grow out of control. His hand was covered in a black and mixed color aura before aiming at all of them and firing at them. They dodged the attack, but it tore a hole in the ground. Homura appeared above him and fired a giant torrent of fire at the Seraph. It looked at the attack and said. First trumpet. Silence. The fire hit the boy, but it did nothing to him, and soon he saw him standing without a scratch on his body. The first trumpet, the power to cancel out yours. Seraph summoned a powerful white javelin in his hand and threw it at Homura, but the attack was destroyed by Mia with a single well-placed slash. He raised an eyebrow at this and quickly closed the distance on the swordswoman. But before he could hit her he was hit in the face by Kushina, sending him flying across the ground. Homura appeared above him and unleashed an close fireball covering him. Once one of the trumpets is traded for another trumpet, the previous ability is cancelled out, meaning this attack was going to hit full force. Mikoto flew into the sky. Sorry Naruto-kun, but we have to stop the Seraph. She summoned a ball of light and threw it at Naruto. It hit him, and soon it exploded on the impact, uplifting some of the trees, while Sasha and Yuki gathered their swords magic and fired it at Naruto, and this time expanded the explosion more than before. Once the dust settled on the ground was a badly injured Naruto, and the group felt sorry for doing this. But he had to be stopped, they would get the devils for this, but for him to go out and kill them all was crossing a line. Homura coughed up blood and saw a fist buried in his stomach and saw it belonged to the healing body of Naruto. Nature cannot be destroyed or killed. He then turned to Mia and threw her Homura, which she stopped her attack and caught. But she had no time to react to a white spear piercing her body, leaving her bleeding on the ground. Don't worry, that won't kill you, I willed it not to. The innocent will be spared, but the guilty shall be. He once again was hit by Kushina in the face, but this time he turned to her and opened his palm and exploded a blast of purple energy. This sent her crashing to the ground with a thud and Mikoto attacking him with a light sword. But sadly he snapped the blade and hit her with a purple blast as well, sending her crashing into a tree with a thud. Turning his head he saw Yuki and Sasha standing there ready to fight, but Yuki was growing more nervous. He defeated all of them without trying, and yet he was healed from his previous injuries. She could only hope someone would come and stop him from continuing his assault. Seraph quickly took off in flight and with one hand summoned a ball of darkness and fired it at them. They tried to stop the attack, but sadly they could only take part of the damage to avoid it damaging the surrounding area. In the end, the Seraph was standing tall and staring at them before proceeding back to the portal. He was off now to finish the devil clans once and for all and show Kami they were not worth mercy. Raswas showed up and saw the carnage that had happened to everyone there and quickly called for Amaterasu, who knew what happened, and ordered her brothers to alert the other yokai while she went to the underworld to stop him from killing innocent people. Underworld Phoenix Manor. Riaz was frowning. She was marrying Riser. Due to her not having a full period she was outmatched by Riser. The match was still close, but after running out of pieces she was left on her own and soon left to the point of fighting an unwinnable battle. Her peerage was watching with frowns and her father was talking to Riser's father about their marriage, producing a new breed of devils that were stronger than the current generation. But before the proceedings could continue she saw another blonde hair man running into the room and missing an arm well covered in battle scars. Ruval. The Lady Phoenix was terrified to see her oldest in such a condition. What happened to you? The room was shocked to see someone that was rumored to be a super devil in the near future beaten so badly. Everyone run. There is a monster here and he is killing all the guards. I barely managed to hold my own against him and he heals from anything that he is hit with. Riser snorted. Please, it most likely a nobody that is going to be in awe of the majesty of all the devil nobles here. Ruval narrowed his eyes before coughing up blood. Shut up Riser, this monster, he is coming, and it was talking about purging the world of the devils due to something our family did. The room was silent. What did the Phoenix clan do to earn the rage of some kind of monster? Ruval was being tended to by some of the medical specialist devils, but the door exploded open and soon the guards were shown thrown into the room covered in blood and ripped to pieces. Standing there was a blonde boy with gold and black eyes and carrying a white spear made of what looked like salt. The group could sense the power coming off this being and soon the entire room was freaking out seeing the damage on its body already healing. Who are you to stand against Riser Phoenix? You should be damned for daring to. Silent sinner. Your kind only know theft, killing, and lately raping. I the Seraph of Kami shall not let this stand, you shall all perish for this sin and face oblivion. He spun his spear around and aimed it at Riser. I can sense the evil in your heart, boy. You are the one that raped that woman and branded her in Kuo yesterday. So what if I did? That whore should have been happy I gave her a minute of my time. Instead she walked away from me and I had my fun with her, got to admit she was a tight little thing. He giggled perversely, leaving the room disgusted. He was glorifying his rape of an innocent woman. Even his own family looked at him with great disgust, seeing him as nothing more than that monster that brought this person to their home. Prepare, devils, I shall erase all of you in one moment. He put his spear in the ground and with his hands as if they are holding a ball, gathered a black and white manner in between them. Fear the final trumpet, oblivion. He aimed it at the group and soon they were covered in a bright light, but saw that the teen was no longer holding his attack but staring at someone behind Riser. Looking, the devils saw a majestic woman with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and pale skin, having a killer figure looking at all of them with disdain and pity for the child. Seraph, that is enough. Naruto would not want this. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but I disagree with you. You didn't see that poor woman and the state she was in. Someone that was his sister in all but blood was raped by this sinner, and you are asking me to forgive this trash. I'm not asking you to forgive, but do not wipe out the race for the mistake of one. He narrowed his eyes. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but I can't do this. I have to erase them. They have trampled on the yokai, disregarded the lives of others, and have stolen and killed for their own amusement. As far as I'm concerned, they are no different than the other devils of the old faction. But there is some good among them, innocent people. That does not justify what they have done. I know, but can you let Naruto live knowing you killed millions with his body and some that were nothing more than children? The Seraph glared at his lady, but eventually he started to bow before the woman and said, My lady, I can't allow this to stand. You created me for the purpose of purging all sinners from this world, and that is what I'm trying to do. I will let you sort out the innocent. Let me do this. As much as I understand, I can't allow this. She appeared in front of him and with one tap of his head the Seraph screamed and soon chains bound his body and his body went limp. The spear disappearing and him being sent back to the human world with the Seraph now under tighter chains than before. This would keep him from breaking loose again, but his power would still dwell in Naruto since has used them, but it would be harder for him to control him. Turning to the devils, she narrowed her eyes at all of them. Surzich's Lucifer, do you know who I am? Yes, you are Kami, the primordial goddess of this world. She nodded her head. I've seen everything that has happened. I know you've tried your best, but it is not enough anymore. For now an innocent woman was raped and the Seraph of the End was released and almost erased all of you had not I chose to stop him. As if I care. Riser was approaching the goddess, getting Surzich's paling and many other devils looking at him. I demand you pay my family back for what that bastard did to our home. Preferably by having his head sent to us in a box. Kami looked at the boy for a second before she grabbed him by the throat and lifted him above the ground. You are the reason for his rage, and while I didn't want him killing you, there is a reason. You see, I found a better punishment for you, Riser Phoenix. You are stripped of everything. With her free hand she touched his head and soon he was screaming in pain and a glowing light flowed through his entire body. In this time, Riser felt his power was gone, his devil blood, everything. What did you do to me? I made you one of those lowly humans you think so little of. You are no longer a devil and shall live out the rest of your life as a filthy human, as you would put it. No one will kill you, but you will suffer for your transgressions this way. She flicked him in the head and knocked him out while saying, this is the last time, Surzich's. She glared at the man, one more mistake, one more time you bring out the Seraph because of something could have controlled and I will do what he started. Your world, your race, and the underworld as a whole will be erased. Is that clear? Why yes, ma'am. Good, remember. Reign in your people or there will be consequences from me and my brothers. She was gone in a bright light and the devils were freaking out while Surzich's got them order and told them that new changes were coming and it was going to start with him dealing with the matters in Kuo and then working on rebuilding relations with the other races. Azazel sighed, Kami, she was sure evil when the times come for it. If the Seraph of the End had returned, that means the world had just become more interesting. Will it survive or will it die? He was eager to see the boy's sacred gear in action in the near future. Michael, having sensed Kami, prayed for the safety of the world. After all, who dared to anger Kami might bring the end to everything that they knew and their own lives if they were not careful. Chapter end. What if Naruto was Seraph High School DxD? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.